Okay, we're now live.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wednesday Night Smackdown between the Puka and the outdated web browser.
Hello.
Basically, I made this TwitLonger post, and every time I make a TwitLonger, a lot of fun happens. I've had people block me over TwitLongers. I've gotten into giant autistic internet arguments over TwitLongers. But this time, Netscape showed up, tagged me in, and said, "Would you like to do a stream tonight?" I actually never agreed to a stream until Dan said, "Hey, are you ready for the stream tonight?" So that's how I ended up here. So I wanted to start out by reading the post that I made that caused so much controversy.
Oh, hold on.
Someone
gonna tweet out the link. Sorry, I forgot to do that.
Yeah, I got it.
Everybody get ready to grip your chairs. The terror is coming.
Oh, they actually fixed it. It tweets out the proper link now. Nice! Google did something good for once. So, I'm going to read the post, and I'll read it with a slight variation, and you will see what I'm doing really quickly. You'll catch on. Are you ready?
Go ahead.
All right. I said this is what the text was that was in the post that I made. It said, "There is something few would disagree with you on. Label is used to describe a certain type of person, based on the behavior of the main people shilling for community. Nowadays, it's more of a clique of people who are or were at some point very supportive of labels, community, and ideas. These people have largely isolated themselves or been isolated through condemnation from most communities and have a rather negative reputation. They follow each other and retweet each other, but very few outside of their circle regularly retweet them, or at least their more bizarre tweets. Many of them are burnouts who no longer support any of their previous ideals. Figurehead himself would fall into this category. Most of the people in this group tend to be associated with overarching label. Needless to say, though, being overarching label doesn't make you a member of label, and plenty of non-label people also act like overarching label. Label members and labels community also tend to be very obsessive and at times stalker-ish, often going on tangents over minor perceived offenses, and almost all of label are extremists. They believe in the movie Bob's no bad tactics style of debate. Destroy your enemy by any means necessary, even if it means becoming what you are fighting against. They seem to think that having a different set of political beliefs from the SJWs means that they are better than the SJWs, even though they engage in all of the same tactics and believe in the same style of rhetoric. They often have a very black and white view of the world. Everyone who disagrees with them is label's enemy and has a trait common to label's enemy. All group are label's enemy, or all other group are label's enemy, etc., for example. No room for nuance, no room for disagreement. There's only room for their own beliefs. They will not listen to reason. They have constructed a victim complex where the world is out to get them, and most of them aren't open-minded enough to even fathom the possibility that maybe their worldview and their lack of nuance isn't healthy." So, that was a really interesting thing to have been written. So, I have a question for you, Netscape. Who do you think wrote that?
Well, obviously, you wrote that. However, you did take some of my previous tweets into account.
Yes, actually...
Some of the rhetoric and language from it.
No, it's actually verbatim with just what I was saying, like label, community, and the other generics removed. That was exactly what you said in a series of tweets, and I just swapped out the labels for the current situation. And I actually think it fits pretty well. I mean, let's look at what happened here, right? There was a community of someone who's obsessive and stalkerish, namely Kraut. He was engaging in what you would describe as SJW tactics, and there are tweets out there of you saying that, digging up information on people and going into the background information, trying to figure out personal information on them, that is an SJW tactic. So they're becoming what they were fighting against. And likewise, all the stuff about them being isolated through condemnation, that's true. Look at what happened to David Sherratt. He was involved in that whole thing. He's basically isolated now. The people who follow him, I think, mostly do it because he's fucking hilarious. But what I thought was really funny is that you didn't catch on to this, despite the fact that I've done exactly this thing before. In fact, let me drop the tweet here.
Are you there?
Hello?
Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yeah, he's still there.
What did I cut out? What did I cut out at?
You didn't cut out.
Okay.
You sound perfectly clear.
Might have been on my
Okay.
end, sorry.
So here's a tweet that I made in June of 2016 where I said, the V-Click is a community of its own, a half dozen to a dozen people who have shilled for the V-General and are extremists. They retweet and talk to each other, shill for the same board, and agree on the same topics. They are a community of their own. That was me taking your words and remixing them again. So I have to ask, did you realize what I was doing when you first responded to this?
No, actually, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't. So I was sort of browsing on my phone at work. Well, and, just okay.
Sounds like an open and shut case of autism.
Yeah, so to sum up what happened here, I basically took a bunch of the tweets that you made about Gigi Revolt, where you were doing your usual things with regards to that board, the usual guilt by association, things like that, and I transformed them to apply to the current situation, and I thought it would be a pretty funny troll. So what do you think? Did I get you good?
Just sort of. I'm sorry, you're cutting in and out, or maybe I am.
You are.
Thank you.
Could you repeat that real quick, Q?
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good troll. I mean, you basically, all of your rants about Gigi Revolt ended up being excellent copy pastas. I mean, so
well played. I'll give you that.
All right, and you probably won't have a problem if I keep doing this and keep referencing it and bringing it up, because they, like I said, they're excellent copy pastas, and I suggest that other people should go look at them and pick up on them and do that as well.
Well, I think that Bolt was accurate, and I'm not sure the situation is completely analogous to what happened with Kraut and T's server.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, the general sentiment of your post is basically you are the company you keep, and this is a standard that you've applied in the past. I would use as the ultimate example how you behave towards Christie Jr. I have tweets of you saying, let me see if I can pull one up here.
And if it's okay with you, could you lower the bitrate just a little bit?
Sure, 1 second.
I was gonna say, your Netscape's connection is stealing a lot of QQ's thunder here.
Yeah, so an example of something that you said in the past is Christie does actually contribute, but most of his crowd doesn't. Just look at Male Goddess, Revolt, etc. So you very clearly have had a standard in the past of you are the company who you keep.
Is that better?
I guess we'll have to see how it plays out. But, I think there's certainly some truth in that if you surround yourself with people who are engaging in questionable acts or who are of a very low moral character and who are on you, that could rub off on you in a bad way.
Well, yeah, and you were in this Discord server, which I would argue was worse than Gigi Revolt, because while they were engaging in functionally identical tactics, one of them was a public board that anyone could go to, whereas this other one was a private gated community. And the other big difference is the Kraut's little community was full of a bunch of egos. It wasn't anonymous people. So when you're doing this whole info gathering thing, there's a big difference there. If it's happening in a public community, there's transparency. And if it's a bunch of anonymous people, then ego's removed from the picture. It's no longer a clique of people colluding in private in order to spin a narrative.
Well, Discord by its very nature is not anonymous.
Yeah, of course. But that creates a difference in community structure.
Also, you say that it was for info gathering on people, but if you look at the logs, and I'm pretty sure the logs have been completely leaked. I haven't gone through it because I didn't see anything, and I didn't say anything that I don't think that was particularly bad. Have been leaked, and I sent it was 20 messages on the server total, and any sort of behavior like that.
They had individual channels for different people. What was the function of those channels if not to gather information on those people?
Yes, and I talked to Crowd about that, and I told him that I don't think that that's the best approach. I think that you should be focusing on attacking their ideas, not the people. Fortunately, that was in Skype, over Skype, so there's no real way to verify that.
So you have more connections with Crowd than have been made public?
Not really.
But you just said Skype.
Yes. Do you mind if I sort of explain
Okay.
this sort of played out, or at least my involvement?
So I can actually read off the message you said when you first joined. You said this. You said, "Thanks. I look forward to working with everyone to help minimize the alt-right as much as we can. I feel like a lot of this is a bit over my head, however. I'm not a biologist or scientist. I haven't looked into much of the data regarding race and IQ. Most of my experience is with GG and criticizing the relatively easy to criticize SJW stuff. Though I have taken on the alt-right a few times in the past." So this sounds like you were invited.
Yes. So, I saw Crowd and T's videos, at least one or two of them, and I don't want to share the private correspondence between me and him, because it's, obviously made in confidence without his permission. I said, "Hey, do you want to come on and do a live stream on my channel, and we can talk about your views on the alt-right and things of that nature?" Me up on Skype, and I installed Skype for the first time in probably over a year. I hit him up. He says, "Hey, why don't you come chat with me on Skype?" And so I said, "Okay." Tells me about his server. He tells me about the idea behind it, which was to, in his idea, his words, sort of to academics together, these university students and possibly professors, and a bunch of YouTube content creators. There was like Thunderfoot in there, Jeff Halliday was in there, and a bunch of smaller channels. And we would criticize the alt-right. Now, he also said that I want to discuss with you, though, and I'm not going to quote him verbatim. I don't remember exactly what he said, word for word, and also it was made in private confidence, but the general gist of it was that he wanted to create the server, or he had created it already, right? I joined kind of late. He wanted to, on debunking the alt-right's ideas, but he also said, and part of this exposed them as hypocrites, as frauds, and as con artists. And he talked about Coach Red Pill. He's a YouTube guy. I'm not too familiar with him. Was.
Oh, that guy.
Got some information on him. And he says, it's not doxing, but it is information that we obtained from apparently a professor. So Crowton T, somebody who had worked with Coach Red Pill in the past, supposedly a university professor. I don't know if that's true or not. He says the university professor told him about Coach Red Pill, how he tried to scam him and make money off of his work. And he said, "How do you feel facing this?" And I said, very careful not to have, real names or phone numbers or addresses in there, because you don't want somebody to, potentially be doxxed, or that would be doxing, right? To have their address out there, to have their phone number out there, or something to that extent, right? Yes. And, in general, you should try to ideas, and let's say you're successful, right? Let's say this Coach Redfield guy is what the professor claims. Let's say this Coach Redfield guy is actually this scam artist. Okay, this YouTuber. In the grand scheme of things, that doesn't matter, right? Like the people who followed him, the people who agreed with his ideas, who hold the same views that they held before, they'll just find some new YouTuber or some new blogger or some new whoever to follow. So you're not actually doing anything productive by doing this. And he tried to talk me into it a little bit. He's like, well, yeah. But I think that we need to take them down because they have such a big audience. Relative, they're not like Sargon, right? But they're relatively big. Would help, hurt their message. And I said, well, yes, but at the same time, this should not be the focus of your group. This should not be the focus of. Should oppose them because their ideas are bad and defeat them in the marketplace. And eventually he says, okay, but how do you feel about releasing this? And I said, well, as long as the information is 100% accurate, as long as you're censoring and redacting any potentially personal information from it, I don't necessarily have an issue with it. As revealing that Zoe Quinn was in the the con leaks and what the things that she said, her friend said, or the Zek attack stuff. I don't really see it's that different. The focus, you should be focusing on making videos or on making arguments to debunk these people. But as long as you remove the personal information, I don't necessarily have an issue with it. And he said that he did not intend to release any personal information.
All right,
and then he sent me the link to the Discord.
Okay, so let me see if I can get your exact stance on this. So, as long as the information is redacted, so it doesn't contain any personal information, you were okay with that?
Well, I was okay with him doing it more or less. I mean, like, I don't feel comfortable with it, really, on a personal level. But, like, I don't think it's like a make or break. Like, I can't talk to you anymore. I can't associate with you in any way because your actions are so horrible. But it's more of like, I don't really personally like that.
Don't like it personally, but you will put up with it for what reason?
Well, I joined the server because I was making a couple videos on the alt-right, and I did. And I actually, if you look at the messages that were leaked, my pretty much my only contribution there was saying, hey, I've got this video being planned. The founding fathers were, how the alt-right and the social justice warriors both like to claim that the founding fathers were horrible white supremacists and white nationalists and all this stuff, and they're horrible people. We got to tear down their statues and stuff and all of that.
Nice straw man.
So,
okay.
You're kind of flip-flopping here, though, because you just said that you were fine with him doing this and releasing this, but you also just said that you're not comfortable with it. You can't be fine with something and not be comfortable with it.
It can be morally consistent.
Yeah, can you nail down your position, like exactly what your moral views would be on if someone had information on someone that they thought was a liar and a bullshitter, what you think would be, if it would be permissible to release that information, to look into it and release it?
Well, I haven't really given a lot of thought to this, but it is something we see oftentimes in politics, right? Opposition research on your political opponents, and also we see it with quote-unquote journalists, digging up research on things that people have said or done in the past that might be questionable, and exposing them. And that's probably a good thing for a democracy, right? Because you have at least all the relevant information about a candidate coming out. So Gamergate too. People on both sides of the Gamergate debate have, been like, oh, I found this thing about Sarah Butts, or oh, hey, I found this thing about Brianna Wu, or I found this thing out about on the anti-Gamergate side. What would be a good example?
Sargon
Electro,
has
right?
a daughter, and it's not his.
Or, Alexa Roth. Remember when Gamergazi, was there anyway, published a bunch of information about Alexa Roth, developer?
Oh wait, I'll give you an example. What about that stream with Milo? You know the one.
Mila? I'm sorry.
Milo.
Milo Yiannopoulos.
Oh, how they... Well, I'm not sure... Gamergazi, I don't think that did that. That was Reagan Battalion?
Oh, I'm sure they had a thread on it.
Probably.
Alright, so I actually am going to have to contest that a little bit, though, because you said you haven't put a lot of thought into it. I think that you have put a lot of thought into it, because I actually have a video from you from June 9th of 2017 called The Worst of Us, in which you take a strong, principled stance on this issue.
Yes, and I think there's very, very different situation there.
All right.
I mean, there you have sharing pictures of somebody's house, and even if all the information...
Wait, I just gotta stop you right there. You realize that whole sharing pictures of people's house thing was just bullshit that you pulled out of your rear end? That was not something that was in any of the evidence you cited?
Yeah, with Brianna Wu and like her house and the car, yeah.
You made that up out of whole cloth. Templar Gamer
it's on
was
Encyclopedia Dramatica today. You could look it up.
Templar Gamer was half laughing his ass off and half furious at you because, he's a buddy of mine, because you lumped him in with whoever did that. And he never took pictures of Brianna Wu's house. Here's the actions of Templar Gamer that you disagreed with. Are you ready? This is what he did. He heard that someone had filed a police report. I believe it was Anita Sarkeesian had filed a police report. So him and Bill from Kentucky decided that this sounded suspicious, and if they had done that there would be a paper trail. So they contacted the police precinct, and an officer said off the record that no such report had been filed. That was the extent of the investigative journalism that they did that you were opposed to. And you made a over 17-minute video criticizing that behavior.
Well, that's, I don't necessarily have an issue with that. That's fine. If that's all that happened.
But you made a video that was over 17 minutes long, and your focal point of that video was calling out that behavior. So,
well, if that's all that he did, then that's fine. I don't necessarily see an issue with that. I mean, I did something similar with Aaron Pabon when he.
Hold on, can you say it again? The name.
I did something kind of similar with Aaron Pabon when he said, "Oh, hey, this library." Well, he didn't say which library it was in particular. Called up like all the libraries in the area and talked to him. I found the one, and it turns out he might have been less than honest. Now, I'm not going to say he was necessarily lying, because they did confirm some aspects of the story, but not others. And it's possible that there was something, miscommunicated there, that he misunderstood what they said. It's possibly they misremember, or that a lower level staff member at the library told him, "Oh yeah, it's okay to do this," and then upper management said no, but that didn't get to Aaron. So we don't really know all the details there. But I did some of my own investigative journalism, sort of, to find out here. So,
okay.
I mean, I've done that as well. Too. And this was in June, I believe you said.
Yeah. Yes.
That's sort of the general premise here. I didn't like the way he was phrasing it, his rhetoric, or at least how he wants to go about doing this sort of.
All right. Well, we can link the video in the description, or we can link it here, and people can see for themselves what Templar was saying. But I'm just gonna say it's not a good look when you make a 17-minute video taking a strong, principled stance against digging into if someone is less than scrupulous. And then you join a server in which exactly that kind of digging is taking place. And in fact, more vigorous kind of digs are taking place in there. Digs that are exposing personal information. And you just sit in the server.
Well,
and in fact,
I didn't see any personal information
How
being
about an
posted.
example? John Kelly.
Being posted in that.
They're talking
Yeah,
over
remember?
each other.
Stop messing with my jigs, John.
So I was on the server maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks total, but I'm not very active on Discord. I think that's pretty obvious to most people, at least from my Discord and from Nurgle's Discord, and from Liviana's Discord. I'm not very active, right? I didn't see everything that went on in the channel, or in the server rather, but I didn't see any personal information being posted. Like, I saw that they had the channels for debunking the bad guys and exposing them as frauds, right? But I checked out a couple of the channels, and it was just like linking YouTube videos of theirs, and here's this guy's docs, let's go get him, or anything like that, from what I saw anyway.
You did or you didn't see that?
I did not see that.
Okay, because it came across as you did because you cut out.
Oh, sorry.
So, I see Bacon in the chat saying we're stuck on GG, and yes, we will be stuck on GG because that is most of Netscape's frame of reference for this type of thing. So we're gonna, I can try and get off the topic here by asking some very pointed questions. So you said that when you joined, you said you look forward to working with everyone to help minimize the alt-right as much as we can. That's a very interesting phrasing there. First of all, we kind of need to know what your definition of alt-right is, because we need to know who you're trying to minimize. Could you give like the elevator pitch definition of who you were trying to minimize?
Sure, and this might be a bit different from Kraut's definition, especially given I did not see the channel, and like people like Aiden Paladin or Sinatra Says, and I'm not even too familiar with them. I'm familiar with Aiden, and nothing I've seen.
Yeah, what's your definition?
Okay. I guess I would define alt-right as being a white identity politics. Well, so for instance, white nationalists, white supremacists, and Nazis, and just people who sort of fall into that frame. And I would not consider, the so-called quote-unquote race realists to necessarily fall into that category. Though obviously I think there's quite a bit of overlap, because a lot of the people who subscribe to that, and they use that as a justification for their racist views. We want to get rid of the black people from America and send them back to Africa, or to send them to Florida, as Richard Spencer says, and create a black ethno-state in Florida. They're mongrels who have low IQs and stuff. No, they're using that as a justification, but they're also people who are quote-unquote race realists. They probably wouldn't describe themselves as that, but who hold similar views. And those views might actually be right, or they might be wrong. Most of the evidence I've seen indicates that, there are obviously differences between. You gotta be careful with saying this stuff because it can be taken out of context. Make you look bad, and cause serious trouble for you. But I would Charles Murray. Most people would not consider Charles Murray, most reasonable people, to be alt-right, right? I mean, he does not advocate for a white ethno-state or for white supremacy. He doesn't praise Adolf Hitler. At least I haven't seen him do it. Or even Sam Harris, who had a discussion with him.
What about Tila?
This is a really complicated definition, and I don't think it's actually a definition at all. You're kind of basically saying, I know it when I see it. But the core of your argument is it has a racial component.
Well, no, not necessarily, right? Black Lives Matter has a racial component. I'm very much opposed to them, but I don't think most people would consider them to be alt-right.
That's the inverse, though. Like, you seem to think that it has a white racial component. We can say it to that. Narrow it down to that, right?
I'm not even sure that's...
Yeah, aren't there black people in the alt-right? Like, at least one? Well, I'm sure it's more than one. but
Oh gosh, that's a tough. I mean, racial component. Like, how exactly? What
okay,
exactly is
remember
a racial
Rene?
component?
Would you say that Rene is part of alt-right?
Well, if so here's the issue: is that I asked you to give a definition, and you gave a definition, but if I couldn't repeat it back to you. Like, if I were to try and repeat your definition back to you, we'd be here all day with corrections because it was long and meandering. I'm kind of looking like for a small, snappy definition that we can go with here. And as far as I can see, the definition that you would give is it's white identity politics. Like, that's the buzz phrase that keeps coming up.
I mean, that is, I'd say. But I mean, like, the Nazis, for instance, they would not consider themselves white identitarians, right? They might at best consider themselves to be, you know, German identitarians, and they take that to such an extreme that they want to eliminate non-Aryans or people who they don't perceive as being Aryan.
I think you're. Hold on, Skip. I think you're mixing up three different things. There is white identitarians, there is white nationalists, and then there is white supremacists. I have not seen any white supremacists in the alt-right. Maybe there are some, but I haven't seen them. Most of them deny this. And there was one Tolerant Fellow has this one argument he has where it's basically that you can't have white supremacy in a white ethno-state because there are no minorities to be supreme over, basically.
I mean, if you look at Charlottesville, you'll see a lot of people who were very much
a lot of people carrying tiki torches
and KKK uniforms and
really? I
all
didn't
kinds
see any
of
of
stuff.
those.
I saw the swastikas, but that's a very different ideology.
Yeah. I'm from what I've heard, the Nazis didn't particularly like the Klan, did they?
No, they didn't, and they thought they were jokes, basically.
Yeah.
But I've only spoken with one person that I would consider to be an actual National Socialist.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people you see waving around ye old banner of the German National Socialist Workers' Party are glorified LARPers. I can say that the core of the ideology of the one National Socialist that I actually talked to was that it was actually very much National Socialist, as in you can only set up a socialist system if it's for your people, and that means anyone who's not your people cannot participate in your socialist system.
Well, I mean, so getting to the alt-right, though, I mean, the way it was set up was to sort of unite these sort of disparate groups that have a few things in common. For instance, they don't really like black people very much, and they really love, you know, white nationalism or perhaps on the extreme end of that, white supremacy or Nazism even. These groups, that's why groups like the Charlottesville rally was called the Unite the Right rally. They wanted to unite the far right together, sort of block. And so you've got sort of a few different competing ideologies within it, and so that's part of what makes it kind of hard to define.
Okay, so you kind of have this. I would say your definition is kind of a I know it when I see it definition, because we have these components, right? We have white nationalism, white supremacy, white identity politics, and you can't name which one of those are and are not a part of it.
I mean, all three of them are certainly a part of it, right?
But I mean, it's all. When I say there's a racial component, that's all has to do with race, right?
Let me try and help move things along a little bit in a given direction. Can you give a definition of alt-right that you're satisfied with that doesn't involve rambling anecdotes to frame?
So white nationalists, white supremacists, and Nazis, basically.
That was so much shorter than everything else you were saying. Thank you.
Well, I mean, it's also hard to define social justice warrior, for instance.
No, not really. You can just use Will Shadowley's definition. Leftists who are hypocrites.
Alright, let's not get wound up on a tangent on that point.
Yeah. I mean, would you agree with Will Shadowley's definition of the SJW?
No, that was Sidron's definition. Will Shedderly's definition was basically a leftist who buys into critical theory.
Oh, okay. I thought he got it from Will Shadowley.
Sidron improved Will Shadowley's definition.
Okay.
So, I would say that I don't necessarily agree with Netscape's definition, and I don't think Netscape actually agrees with his definition either, because it doesn't include people that I think he would count as alt-right. An example being someone like Common Filth.
Like someone like who? Common
Filth.
I'm not sure who that is. I'm sorry.
He's the one who promotes the phrase "ignore sodomite orders." He's against the sodomites most of all. He also uses the phrase "white girls fuck dogs" a lot.
So he's anti-Semitic, or
No, anti-sodomite. You know what a sodomite is, right?
Have you heard of...
homosexual?
Yes. Would you include someone like that in your definition of the alt-right?
Probably not. No.
Why not?
There are plenty of people who are opposed to gay marriage and who aren't alt-right.
Yeah, but he is a bit more extreme than that.
I mean, a lot of people have extreme views on various topics. That does not necessarily make them alt-right.
Okay, so what if someone said that sodomites don't belong in our nation, and we need to create a nation without them?
Well, I think that they're an idiot.
But you would not count that person as alt-right.
No,
He's
unless
basically
they had
saying-
other views as well.
He's basically saying homosexuals. That's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, homosexuals don't belong in America. That's what they're saying.
Yes.
And I think that they're an idiot, but I wouldn't necessarily call them alt-right.
All right, so you have this this definition that's basically white nationalists, white supremacists, and Nazis.
Yeah, white nationalists, white supremacists, Nazis. Pretty
So-
straightforward, I think.
Do you think that all the people who he was making lists on were white supremacists, white nationalists, and Nazis?
I don't know all the people he was making
Stefan
lists on.
Molyneux?
No, probably not. No, probably not them. No, Stefan Molyneux, Iden, probably not them. I didn't know he had Stefan Molyneux and Iden Paladin on the list.
Wait,
until after I saw
you
the
didn't
list.
look at the channel names?
No, Dan. Stefan Molyneux was added and removed.
Oh, okay.
He may have joined after them. He had Lauren Southern on there for a while as well. So,
Okay, go ahead.
who did he have listed that you would say fell into those categories? Because you jumped in the server and we're all excited about it. I'm looking forward to helping everyone minimize this group of people. So you must have seen something that you liked. Who did you see that caught your eye that fell into this category?
People like Alternative Hypothesis.
Who?
Seen Millennial Woes, Richard Spencer.
But all right, Millennium Woes, something hypothesis.
Oh, alternate hypothesis.
Okay, so you want to minimize these people. What does that mean?
I mean, not the people, the ideas.
But you admitted that you're not competent in these ideas.
Well,
you said you're
I'm
not a biologist
I'm
or
not
a
familiar-
scientist. You're not a biologist or a scientist, and you haven't looked at much of the data.
on the whole race IQ thing, particularly.
You don't know if these
But
people are right or
obviously-
wrong, but you don't want to minimize them.
They're certainly
Whoa, what was that?
certainly wrong. There's a difference between that they are drawing and the policies that they are advocating for, or not. Black people in America are 10 to 15 points lower than white people in IQ, or whether or not Ashkenazi Jews or Asians are 10 to 15 points higher than white people on average.
So do you have the data on that? Have you looked into it?
Somewhat, yes. Podcasts on it. Sam Harris and Charles Murray. Very bad wizards.
Hold on. Did you see the speech that Bill Nye gave?
I did not. Sorry. Oh, unless you mean like the crazy ice
No,
cream one.
no. This was before that. Long before that. Before Gamergate.
So probably not then.
Okay, so I'm still not clear what you mean by minimizing these ideas. These ideas that you only have, like, this looks really strange to me, right? You come in here, you're all excited about minimizing these ideas that are associated with this thing that you don't really understand. Why would you want to minimize something that you don't know much about?
I don't have a problem necessarily with people like Charles Murray or even Stefan Molyneux. With those people.
But
I have an issue with the people who are advocating for, forcing tens of millions of people out of their homes and forcing them to go to some continent they've never been to before because of their skin color.
Oh, okay. I get what you're talking about. But what he was trying to ask you is about race realism.
Yeah, why, like, there's a word for wanting to minimize something that you don't really understand instead of hearing them out and debating them. And it's not a word that you're very fond of, because last time I mentioned it in the last stream, it was quite a point of contention.
What would that word be?
Censorship.
Well, I don't want to censor them. They're entitled to their opinions. The government should not be arresting people because they talk about gassing Jews or because they talk about forcing black people into boats and sending them to Africa, right?
No, that's just what they do in Germany.
So, if your whole thing about minimizing is, I want to meet them in the public square and debate them until their ideas are discredited, how does your presence on the server help that in any way, shape, or form? How does any of the activity on that server help in that in any way, shape, or form?
I didn't really. He said we got the server for combating, the alt-right and discrediting them, and I said, okay, I'll sign up. I wanted to, bounce ideas off some people for videos I had planned, and like the white nationalist founding fathers video.
So you came into this server, and to you, it looked like a social club, even though all these things were going on around you that you have basically said that you don't approve of, or that they make you... What were the words that you used? You don't feel comfortable with it.
Well, with with that stuff necessarily in Gamergate either. When people were like trying to focus on we gotta tear down Brianna Wu, it's like Brianna Wu is a bad person certainly, and we should point out her inconsistencies in her logic and point out her really bad arguments. But your goal should not be to find the dirt on Brianna Wu to prove to her Patreon donors that she's a bad person, right? That should not be your goal.
Yeah, like, you don't, like, I don't see what your motivation here is and how it lines up with your behavior in the past at all. Like, you said before, things like, mob tactics, no, those are right out. Or if it's not organic criticism, if it's mob tactics, then that's right out.
Absolutely, yes.
So how is all getting together in a private Discord and formulating narratives on specific people not a mob tactic?
Well, we never mass flag. I didn't anyway. I don't know if other people did, but I didn't mass flag anybody. I didn't try to start, Twitter petitions or Twitter campaigns against people or anything like that. That wasn't going on from what I saw. Maybe it was. Again, I wasn't super active there, but that's not something I participated in or something that I saw happen. I don't see how going into a server... I didn't even talk about the people there. I didn't talk about the alternative hypothesis guy. I didn't talk about any of these people. Or Stefan Molyneux. I didn't mention any of those people by name. I didn't.
I have a question. Sorry to interrupt. What was your contribution to the group?
Pretty much nothing. I joined the server. I welcomed a couple people to the server. Maybe engaged in a little bit of small talk, I guess, with a couple people. And then I said, hey, I got this video planned. plan on using. You know, what are your thoughts on this? I posted some quotes from from George Washington, actually, not just Thomas Jefferson, from a couple of the founding fathers.
There was a tweet you made where you were tweeting out a re-upload that Sargon did of one of Kraut's videos. I think it was the outright doesn't understand genetics was one of those ones.
Well, I said, you know, props to Sargon, I think, for re-uploading it after it was taken down.
Did you get that from the server?
No, I just tweeted it on my own.
Well, no, I mean, where'd you find the video?
Did I?
What? You cut out.
Where I found the video, to be honest. It wasn't on the server, I don't think. It might have been.
So you did get it from the server?
It might. I don't know where exactly I found the video.
You don't know?
Weird to say, but, you know, things pop into my feed on Twitter, on YouTube.
Yeah, but you tweeted
on Discord.
Oh god, now he's going with my mentions.
I mean, I don't even know where I got it from.
Why are you tweeting out videos you don't know where you got from?
Well, I thought it was good of Sargon to provide a platform for this video censored. And I think most people would agree that this was a case of censorship, right?
Sure.
He was, you know, had the moral high ground rather than going, oh my god, what if some of my alt-right followers are mad at me for doing this? He said, oh, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and post it anyway, even if it pisses off a couple people.
Well, yeah, but that still doesn't answer my question of where did you get the video?
I don't know. Maybe. Oh, wait, hang on. Let's see if I can.
Where he's specifically asking, where did you put it?
Yeah, like.
Who sent it to me, or?
Yeah, who sent it to you? Who, or did you download it on a server or someplace else?
Well, no, he didn't download it. He had a link to it.
Okay.
Because he was tweeting out.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I mean, you know, things come to me. You know, people send me stuff all the time. I see stuff on Twitter. Maybe Kraut put it out, or someone else on Twitter tweeted it out.
Kraut gave it to you then.
Oh, I don't know if he did or not.
So
I'm assuming they
didn't
sent
give it to
you
me.
dick pictures as well.
So, let me see if I can summarize the sequence of events. You can tell me if I'm right or if I'm wrong. This is what you say happened, more or less. You contacted Kraut to show him that you were working on videos about the alt-right. He said, get in touch with me over Skype. Am I right so far?
No, actually, I didn't say I'm working on videos, though I had done videos in the past on the alt-right. But I said, would you like to do an interview?
Okay, so you contacted him.
Do you mind if I pull up, real quick, exactly what I said to him? Messages, just mine, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, this is the entire extent of me talking to Kraut via DM with his 2 messages missing. I said, hey Kraut, I'd love to do a stream sometime with you on your history with Gamergate and recent taking on of the alt-right. Would you be interested? He responds saying, hey, you know, add me on Skype, whatever. I'm not going to show exactly what he said. I'll have to reinstall Skype. I haven't used it since jumping to Discord. And then I said, later on, that was on November 12th. November 12th is when those 2 messages were sent. And then I did not talk to him at all until December 18th, where I said, after the server was leaked and all this stuff, I said, just a heads up, Micah Curtis is interviewing me tomorrow about the Discord. I'll be honest about everything, but I have no intentions of leaking any messages on the server, as those were made with an expectation of privacy. I don't think that should be necessary anyway, as I didn't see anything particularly wrong going on. And then he responded with something, but I'm not going to show it. And that's the extent of our messages. I sent him 3 messages, he sent me 2.
Okay. So, we've established the first piece of the sequence of events. You contact him through Twitter DMs about doing an interview. He says get on Skype in some way, shape, or form. you must have got enough contact information to be able to hook up on Skype. So next, you had a conversation on Skype through voice.
Conversation on Skype, and he says, I saw your video. I saw your video defending him, basically. Not really defending him per se, but so remember when Kraut was accused of doxing Rage Afterstorm?
He got her or not.
Yeah.
What was?
And I remember that video. You made an argument about he didn't really technically dox her. He basically tattletale to a government organization.
He didn't dox her in that. It was on her public Twitter account. That I don't think you can call that doxing.
But it is going after someone individually. It's going after an individual, which is something that you tend to take strong principled stances against.
Well, yes, but I think that was a bit different because.
Yes, but.
Oh, I do think it was a bit different. I'm not saying that to paint myself as some sort of consistent arbiter, but I think this is consistent with what I've said.
No, it isn't. It isn't different.
It isn't like
No,
you made a set. You made a set.
She was working.
Hold
Okay,
on.
listen. Are you gonna hear me out or not?
All right, let's go ahead.
She was
Go ahead.
working. Or not working for. She was volunteer for the UK Independence Party. The organization is very much opposed to racism. That very much wants to distance themselves from what to be, the UKIP is racist. They want to distance themselves from that, and they've done a lot of work to make sure that people know that they have good intentions. And she was working for this organization. They're saying, hey, I do this, and then tweeting out some stuff or making a video. He basically just said, hey, are you aware that this person who is volunteering for your non-racist and anti-racist even organization is doing this?
But
And
okay.
maybe he should have sent out that tweet. I don't think that is quite the same as
Yeah, it is.
dogpiling somebody who works at McDonald's and trying to get them fired.
All right.
No, we're not.
Well,
no, hold on.
wait.
No.
No,
I'm gonna
you-
go. Then you can go, QQ. We're not
All right,
talking
go
about McDonald's employees. We're talking about Brianna Wu, who is currently running for Congress. So it isn't different.
So, you said in your old video that what you should be doing is making better arguments, debunk people, or have debates and discussions with them. And you said that targeting them as individuals and trying to destroy their lives or trying to attack people on an individual basis is immoral behavior. And you actually quote Ben Shapiro and you say you should never defend immorality.
Yes.
So, you gave the example in that video of proving that Anita Sarkeesian is a con artist is going after someone on an individual basis.
Yes.
But this is not going after someone on an individual basis. Your standards are flexible when it comes to certain people that you dislike.
Well, maybe I am inconsistent in this regard. As a general rule, yeah, you shouldn't do that. But I mean, you could probably point to some case where it's like, oh well, same, or there's variations here. It's a little bit different.
Here, let me help. If you have some nuance that you're trying to get into your point, this would be a fantastic place to make it explicit.
Well, what I said in the video was, when it's not doxing. People saying that he doxed her, fake, or they're attacking him unfairly to harm his credibility. He did not dox the person. This was on her public Twitter bio, and that UKIP themselves from racist. This is long-standing UKIP policy. If they find out that one of their members is racist, they will kick them out. That's happened for years. and he was helping them enforce that policy.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing I didn't like about it, and I'm just going to point this out, Netscape, is that this whole situation became the fact that she became a mark idea that she mentioned on her video on YouTube. And already, you know, she already lost the YouTube channel. And, of course, he kept insisting on tattletale situation to UKIP, which kind of went too far. I consider too far.
Yeah, so this goes back to your own standard, which you said earlier in the stream that you think is more or less true, which is you are the company that you keep. And you have this inconsistency now where you're perfectly fine to keep the company of someone who goes after people individually, an action that you have called immoral, as long as they're going after acceptable targets. And you're willing to allow them to do things that you don't feel comfortable with as long as it's an acceptable target.
Right. Well, to touch upon what JT said, though, you know, in, let's say, Republican politics, or even just, you know, conservative politics, and I do think I'm a fairly conservative person. I've got some liberal policies and some conservative policies, but I more or less, I think I'm more conservative. And I found out that one of the people working with the Missouri Republican Party is, you know, some diehard or something along those lines.
We're talking hypothetical here.
I would want that person out.
No, I mean, is this something that actually happened or didn't? Because you cut out a little.
Oh, sorry. This is not something that happened.
Okay.
But I would want that person out. And I think that anyone of good conscience, even if they're a Democrat, even if they're an independent, even if they're a libertarian or a Green Party person, would say, hey, this bad actor in your midst, you should probably do something about that. Well, and I've said this with Gamergate, too. I've said, you know, hey, you know, when the anti-Gamergaters say, you know, oh, well, you're a bunch of harassers. You know, I'll tell them. I said, well, engaging in harassment, and what evidence do you have? And if you can provide me with actual evidence that Sargon, for instance, hypothetically, and you had proof, and you showed me the proof, and it was pretty clear cut, and there was no way to beat around the bush there, then I'd be like, yeah, you know, Sargon is poorly representing Gamergate. He's engaging in to oppose, and he's engaging in immoral tactics. He's doxing somebody, and that's something that the Gamergate community should call out.
You realize that it has been demonstrated that he's been poorly representing Gamergate. I remember that the whole airplay situation.
Jog my memory a little bit here. What did Sargon do there? And I'm not interested in really defending Sargon. I'm subscribed to him, but I don't really watch too much of his videos.
Okay, Skype, too long didn't read. Skype group with a bunch of people in it, including, what's his name? Mark Seb.
Mark Seb.
Sargon says, don't talk about YouTube. Don't talk about YouTube. Don't talk about Polygon. Focus on Kotaku.
Well, that's his opinion, you know.
But you just said that should be called out.
Yeah, I mean, so let me lay this out very simply to you, right? What is the career of Sargon and his friends?
It's YouTube.
Yes. What happened with the Candid situation?
Some YouTubers promoted Candid without fully knowing what they were endorsing.
Yeah, and without disclosing it in the manner legally mandated by the Federal Trade Commission. Not all of them did that. Some of them certainly didn't disclose it properly. So, and some of those people would you describe them as Sargon's friends?
I'm not sure who exactly violated Federal Trade Commission regulations.
June.
Monday Matt, Black Pigeon Speaks, I think did he?
I know there was another one, but he was outside of it. It was, let me see. It was, Review Tech USA that also did it.
Review Tech USA actually said he was sponsored by Candid, so he was okay.
Yeah.
The FTC guideline is you have to say in the audio and show on the screen
That's true.
that this is a paid spot and it has to be unavoidable. So, but not all of them met those requirements. So,
Well, Sargon has said that he thinks that Gamergate is about ethics, primarily.
It's not.
and
Journalism in
okay,
particular.
let me finish here.
Go ahead.
Would you describe the behavior of? So, are you aware of the Shadows of Mordor controversy?
Yes.
A bunch of YouTube people did not properly disclose the Shadows of Mordor incident, right? So, is it ethical to go behind the scenes to a script writer, someone who is writing the scripts for an event, and tell them, no, don't include that incident, an incident that involved his career and involved something that his friends engage in?
That his friends engaged in? I'm sorry, you cut out. Or I cut
Yeah,
out.
that his friends went on to engage in. I mean, it wasn't even the first time that some of them had done it. If I recall, Thunderfoot has done paid promotions in the past. Like, paid promotions aren't an unusual thing to do on YouTube. So, basically, go on directly to a scriptwriter and say, you should not include a scandal that happened in my area of expertise with regards to what my career choice is. You should talk about everything else, but you should not talk about a scandal in the area where I and my friends make our career.
Well, I don't think there's anything inherently unethical about that. I mean, there are a lot of careers and there are a lot of jobs that have nothing to do with games journalism. And if you think that Gamergate is about games journalism, then you might not consider YouTube to fall into that.
SBJ does.
Yeah, they gave it
SBJ gives awards to YouTubers, journalism awards to YouTubers.
I mean that Sargon necessarily has to agree with that, or that Sargon has to view that as being within the scope of Gamergate.
Doesn't matter what Sargon thinks. He was advising a scriptwriter for an SBJ event. This was an event.
He gave his opinion. He gave his opinion on it.
Behind closed doors in a Skype group that no one knew about, which he didn't disclose that he had any involvement in scriptwriting process.
You cut out Q.
This video airplay. Well, then again, neither did I, but I had to apologize for that.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're way off on a tangent. I notice we keep getting pulled back to GG. This is really unusual. So
I do want to go for another 10 minutes, and that's about it, okay? I work in the morning, and I do
let's
want
try to finish this chronology of events.
Nice and video.
When you reached out to Kraut for the interview, was that before or after he had gone after Rage After Storm?
That was after.
Okay, so you reach out for him. You reach out to him for an interview. I don't really see anything wrong with that. I'm perfectly willing to interview people who I don't agree with. Xenomancer, you're echoing.
You there, Craig?
Sorry about that.
Thank you.
I don't see any problem with interviewing someone who does things that you have a fundamental philosophical position against doing. However, next, let's keep going. He says something about contact me on Skype, which we're not sure about. You have a Skype conversation with him. During that Skype conversation, it comes up that he has this Discord server. And so he invites you to join the Discord server. And you join it, and then you make your little introductory statement about how you want to minimize the alt-right. Have I got the chronology all sorted out?
Yes, you got it right.
Okay. So here is what I think that you should answer for. Now, of course, all of your fans are going to hold you to a different standard, and all of the people that we know hold each other to different standards. But this is what raises questions in my mind. If I was someone interested in you, this is what I would be thinking, and that is, first of all, you knew that he had in the past gone after people on an individual basis. And this is something that you'd made a strong principle, a stance against doing. Interview, that's fine. Joining a community where he basically said he was going to do more of that, something that you said, he said things in the Skype call that you said made you uncomfortable. Why you did that is something that you've kind of danced around, and I think that you will eventually need to answer for. Maybe not on the stream, but it's something that you will eventually need to answer for. Then you joined the server and you saw how it was laid out, because you can't ignore that, and it had individual groups for individual people using a tactic that you had specifically come out against previously, and you stayed there and kept interacting with them. Those are the two big things that I think are somewhat unaccounted for, and you've made explanations for it, and your explanations will be judged on the merit of how good people think that good of a job people think that you did. So that's basically my big view on it. Is your defense is that you were completely oblivious to what was going on around you. That works to the extent of things that you could be oblivious about, but there's multiple things that go against your principles that were in plain sight that you just kind of allowed to happen.
Well, I mean, I told Crowd that we should not, or at least the group should not, go after individuals. That should not be the focus of the group. And in there, the only, or saying hi, what's up, things like that to people, very small talk like that, or did my own video, and when I was getting some feedback on some of the sources I had and the quotes that I was going to use, things like that.
I'm sorry to interrupt here. I wonder, I got a question about this whole thing. Did you watch Jeff Holliday's in his own defensive words about the whole situation with the server?
No, actually, to be honest, I don't really know who Jeff Holiday is. I know he's a big YouTuber, and that's about it. I've never watched any of his content.
I did watch his video over this, and his own. He said that this server was for to fight against about the alt-right view on race realism, from what I understand.
Well, I don't necessarily.
And they were trying to find research about this.
That was. I know that a lot of people
because they wanted to debunk the argument about race realism.
I definitely saw a lot of that. I know that they are very happy with the alt-right's argument in regards to that.
Mm-hmm.
How many of them sourced Bill Nye?
I didn't see anybody sourcing Bill Nye, but again, I wasn't very active.
In his own words, he said that he was really trying to look up research about race realism and how they can debunk that, and I understood what he was talking about. And the thing about that is, it kind of got, according to him, it kind of got brought up about what's his name, Gus's name, aka Coach Red Pill.
Hey, I'm not sure I understand if there's a question there.
I think
JT.
you cut out.
Well, no, I'm sorry.
What was the question, JT?
Have you ever interacted with anyone else, or just crowd itself?
Shoot. Let's see. On the server, I mean, I think I said like hi to some people. A couple people joined. A couple students, I think. And I welcomed them to the server. I don't really know who they are. Welcome.
Well,
I might have contacted.
You're familiar with Lizzie Reptile, sorry.
I actually am not. I've heard the name, but I'm
I
not.
actually helped her out one time.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I was actually in a DM group with a bunch of these alt skeptic people, these skepticism plus people once. It was actually really funny because, if I recall, I outright said I don't like being part of circle jerks like this, and I posted them until the DM group was destroyed. They actually, at the end of the life of the DM group, they changed it to leave this group and started quitting it because of the things that I was saying in it. And honestly,
Did you tell them Jesus loves you?
I don't know. I just think when I see something like that,
Holy shit.
and I have principled opposition to some things that I see go on, I tend to be pretty vocal about it and pretty active about it. It seems very unusual to me that you would participate in that environment and see all of this going on around you and not have a crisis of conscience.
I mean, I you know, they're making videos, and they're to debunk the alt-right to a large extent. They're also going after the race realist people, which I would not necessarily consider alt-right. And they wanted to expose some of them anyway, being frauds, as being liars, as being con artists.
Yeah, which is something that you have taken a strong principled stance against doing in the past.
No, I don't think I have.
You have.
I'm
The
opposed
worst
to
of
it.
us on your channel on
Yeah.
9th June
No, I need to-
2017.
Hear me out, QQ.
Do I need to play the
is-
video on the stream?
I don't think that this should be the main tactic that people use, but if you happen to come across information that shows that somebody, let's say in the social justice community or in the alt-right community, is a fraud, is a liar or a con artist, anything necessarily wrong with exposing that. But
That's
I
what
don't.
Templar did.
And if that's all the Templar did, then that's fine.
But you made a 17-minute video about
Uh,
that.
Well, I think Templar worded himself very poorly then, and there have been other things. The video wasn't necessarily even about Templar. I don't know if I mentioned Templar's name even once.
Yes, you did. You showed recordings of
You
him.
did
played a
it once
clip.
in the
You
video.
played a clip of him.
But I didn't mention
You
him.
pretty much.
I didn't.
He was a focus, yeah.
I was trying to focus on the general idea and the general principle behind it, more than trying to go out there and get Templar. No, that was not the point of the video.
All right. So, give me a moment. I'm going to find exactly what Templar said.
Do you want me to pull the video up?
Again, I don't want to go for too much longer, so if you can.
Boy, at this rate, I'm gonna beat this game.
If you want to just, oh, wait, I found it. This is exactly what you played in your stream that you objected to.
Q, do you want me to play it, or are you going to?
He said, around August, not August, September-ish, I would say like Anita starts coming out again and being like, I was threatened, I had to leave my house and all this shit. And my buddy Bill was on Twitter while everyone was arguing about harassment and all this and just basically asking, did she even call the cops? And nobody had an answer. So basically, after figuring out where she lived by basically having to dig up some old shit and having to talk to the likes of Jordan Allen, oh god, I've got stories about that. He basically called her fucking precinct and asked to talk to her with a representative. And he basically said that he had no information, that no call like this ever took place, and that's where Jordan Owens and Milo Yiannopoulos' reports on it ended. I should put out that our reporting on this kind of predates those two by about an hour, if I recall correctly. You can find the record of this on Bill's Tumblr called The Art of Being Bill, if I recall correctly. But basically, we went one step further because we got to talk to the dispatch officer that was at the 911 call center off the record, and this individual basically said that no person named Anita or any incident that came close to what was her particular incident, apparently, because again, this has been years ago and I've kind of forgotten finer details, but basically nothing happened like that in her precinct over that week. And once we dropped that, yes, it caused the internet to be on fire for about 3 days, and we basically were never blamed. It's like Jordan Owen and Milo Yiannopoulos took all the heat. So if you have a problem with Milo, you can feel free to blame me and Bill, because we're the reason he is where he is now.
Yes, and that is exactly the sort of mindset that I think should be opposed. We got he says he found out where she lived and all that. No, that is complete garbage. You should not be doing that.
So he found out where she lived so that he could call her
if I saw Kraut doing that shit.
Wait, hold on a minute.
I'd be calling him out too.
Didn't he dig up a bunch of information on Coach Red Pill to see if he was a fraud or not?
To a professor.
He what? You cut out.
He said he was talking to a professor.
Professor Chaos.
So he dug up enough information on Kraut to get in contact with his professor?
Well, I'm not sure he was his professor, but
not
with
Kraut.
a professor.
Enough on Coach Red Pill to get in contact with a professor from his personal life? So the line in the sand that you're going to draw here is, if you do research that involves certain pieces of information that you do not publish in order to find out the truth, if that piece of information was involved in your research, then it's bad. But if you do exactly the same the same actions, the same end result, but during the process you didn't have to look that deep into the person, then it's okay. That's your standard.
Well, all I know was he told me he was talking to this professor, and the professor gave him some information about Coach Red Pill. Scam him. How Red Pill tried to scam the professor. And to set up a website in his name, profiting off the website, and not sharing the profits with the professor at all, and things like that.
I don't get what your standard is here. I mean, your objection seems to be that finding out what police precinct someone is a part of so that you can get information on whether they're a fraud or not, that's right out. But
QQ. In the entire time I've been involved in Gamergate, really hundreds of videos. Or dozens at least. Well, hundreds, I'm pretty sure. If you count live streams. I've never once felt compelled to see where somebody lives. And in responding to any article or any YouTube video or anything of that nature in order to discredit somebody. I've never felt the need to do that.
Can I bring up something?
You don't exactly do investigative journalism, though.
Only if it takes less than the 7 hours we've been here waiting for them to get past the definition of all right.
Okay. I wanted to bring up something about the whole situation with Gamergate back then when Brianna Wu house was exposed. As I seem to recall, it was shown on Google Maps, technically. It was the picture was taken by some random person. It wasn't a journalist, it wasn't one of our doxers, it was just a random person that was on the street trying to show Google Maps. That was it. But everyone assumed, oh my god, there was no address shown.
But you're looking this information up, and you're publishing it. Even
but here's the thing.
Has been through.
Here's the thing. Have you ever seen Tom Cruise's house?
Haven't. I don't care about celebrities.
Okay, you can look it up. And just type in Tom Cruise's house, and it'll be right there. It'll show the inside and outside of his house.
This is even besides the.
Has he published that himself, or what exactly?
It's on Google Maps.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is beside the point, though. I mean, what we're talking about is not publishing any information on someone other than the fact that their claim that they called the police was false. That was the entirety of the published information here, is that saying that they called the police, that was a lie. That was what was published. The research that was involved in getting that information may have involved looking into some information that was not public, But I can tell you as a fact, as someone who has done a lot of videos that involved a lot of digging, that's not an uncommon trend. You very often have to exercise discretion about what you're willing to publish because your research process turned up things that you probably shouldn't be putting out there. That's just what doing good research is all about.
Well, I don't think that you should be looking into that kind of stuff in the first place.
And why were you in a group about looking into that kind of stuff in the first place?
At least as far as I saw, I did not see anybody going in there and trying to be like, oh, let's find out where Coach Redfield lives. Let's find out his house. Let's find out, alternative hypothesis how. No, nobody from what I saw. Again, I was not super active at all. I am not a big Discord person, but I did not see any of that. And if I did, I would have called it out and I would have left.
So your entire standard is if a bit of research involves someone's personal lives, it's okay unless it involves their address, and then it's right out.
Well, like their address or their phone number or something. Why are you digging through that shit in the first place?
So you can call their police precinct because they made a factual claim and are a public figure, and that factual claim deserves to be researched. Why should a public figure be free from scrutiny if they're making public claims? From scrutiny.
I've been very critical of Anita Sarkeesian. I've done a couple of videos criticizing her.
Okay, so if you wanted to disprove that Anita Sarkeesian had called the police, how would you do it?
Well, that would not even be my line of argumentation in the first place. I mean, I think I've been pretty clear in my videos that my line of argumentation consistently that the evidence does not support this, and if you look at the statistics on Gamergate harassment, and it's only 0.
We're not talking about harassment. I'm saying this is the fact that you are suspicious of. She said she called the police. You are suspicious of that fact. You now want to disprove it.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter if she called the police. I don't think that's even relevant. Actually, I don't think that really matters in the grand scheme of things. And
it's totally relevant.
You're saying,
if she's making positive claims, well, the burden of proof is on her to show that. And I have no doubt actually that Anita Sarkeesian has received a lot of actual death threats and a lot of harassment from people, not necessarily Gamergate people for the most part. But I have no doubt that she has. If you look at the things that people have tweeted at her and stuff, I have no doubt that she has received harassment like that. And in denying that, I think it's factually true that she has. Now, whether or not that's come from Gamergate people, and whether or not she is painting with a broad brush to blame tens of thousands of people for the actions of a very tiny minority who may not even know what Gamergate is. Entirely.
I think we're back on GG again, but I'm just gonna say before we move on, I think your definition of GG people is basically people who don't do anything that make GG look bad. Because the moment they start digging in a way that you don't like, they're not GG people anymore. But yeah, I think we've pointed out what the main moral quandary is here. What problem I have. And what problem I would bring up if anyone else wanted to contend your presence there. Do you mind if we open it up and just let other people join here?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
All right, let's
for probably 5 minutes, okay?
Dan, could you drop the link in the chat, an invite link?
Oh, do you want me to send them an invite link? Because I can do that.
There it is.
Dan has mod powers over the chat. He can drop it. Okay.
Go wild.
Go ahead.
Oh snap! He's got mod powers.
I created the channel or the server, whatever you want
He's
to call
the
it.
fucking god in here.
I want to go. You can also read some questions from the chat if there are any good ones there.
I don't believe there are.
Hey, Templar.
All right, one more spot.
Testing, because I would like to slap Nut Scrape in right now before I take pictures of his house.
Nice to see you too.
But by the way, taking pictures of people's house has become an in-joke because you accused him of that with zero evidence.
Did I accuse him of that, or did I?
Yes,
because I know
you accused
someone
me of taking
did
pictures
do that
of her house.
Well,
That is what you accused me of, and don't you fucking lie to me, boy, because I have the fucking
video was
video.
criticizing. The video was criticizing.
I don't care what you were criticizing.
Actions.
That is what you fucking said, bro. That is what you fucking said in that video. Don't you lie to me, because fuck you, Netscrape. Fuck you.
I don't.
And not
think
only
you're-
that, I'm sick of you lying. I'm sick of you weaseling around everything. And I'm sick
have
of the
I lied
fact that
about?
QQ over there and Rain letting you weasel around it.
What did I lie about here? Or
Let's
else-
see, you lied
Time
about
of the
me taking
debate, holy
pictures.
shit.
Let's see. You lied about me taking pictures of Brianna's house. You lied about the fact that you thought I had done something so unforgivable that I went and looked up some information about Anita just to verify a story that I never even fucking published out anywhere in that fucking story. Yeah, I fucking dug up her shit solely to confirm something. I didn't go spreading it around.
I didn't
like
say you
fucking
spread it
crap.
around.
Yeah, and here's the difference, Nutscrape. You went into a fucking group with the likes of Cuck and Ree, who were planning on spreading all this shit about Coach Red Pill, and if that fucking shit with Coach Red Pill is any indication, they were planning on spreading all manner of other shit based on other recordings that have been put out by that fucking group that leaked that whole Discord group. So I want you to sit here and explain to me how you can justify anything you have said over the past couple of years about this when you're in groups that are doing worse shit than I ever fucking did, you fucking faggot.
Well, I think you're coming at this with a lot of anger and hostility.
Oh yes, because I don't like liars, and I don't like people lying about me.
I did not say that you published her docs.
You did not say.
Do you want me to pull up
Bullshit.
the video?
We
I
can
mean,
Did
have
I
that
accuse
video.
Templar of doxing? No.
Pull up the video right the
What
fuck now. because
timestamp?
It was somewhere around 5-ish minutes. You'll know it's there because they plays the clip of that fucking stream before he launches into his tirade.
As many of you know. But you
Keep
haven't
in mind, this
actually-
video is 19 minutes, so I don't expect you to play the whole fucking thing. It's called The Worst
Case
of
scenario.
Us. Hashtag
This one
Gamergate
person
for
is no
those of you
longer
curious.
trusted.
And Nutscrape, if you attempt to pull it off
Will you
your
shut
fucking
up so I can
channel,
play the video?
I have no
Oh,
intention of
fuck
pulling it
you.
off, but if you think I got something wrong in the video, I'd be happy to correct it.
no, you won't. You blocked me on Twitter, and I have been screaming at you about
I blocked
it
you
for
on
a
Twitter
while.
because you're an asshole. And I don't really wanna
And
deal
I
with
wonder
you.
why I'm an asshole when you are doing shit you pull.
If you can point to something that I got wrong in the video, I'd be happy to correct it.
Bullshit. You won't correct shit,
We
and it's
did
far
point-
too fucking late
No,
for
hold
that.
on, Netscape,
It's been
we
up
did
there
point
for
that out.
months. We have pointed
Did
out
you see
numerous
our-
times that you've weaseled,
Templar
bought, and
Quad-
baileyed your shit out of it.
Templar. Okay, can I talk?
Go ahead,
Okay,
then.
we did point this out. QQ stayed up very, very late at night to make a video responding to your video. Didn't you watch it?
I saw the video when it came out. I don't remember exactly what QQ said.
QQ, what'd you say?
Uh,
That one I don't have
I don't.
downloaded.
I don't think I wrote a script for that one. I think I just winged it. So I would need to actually watch it again in order to see. I would just give you a link to it, but the problem is that VidMe is dead now, and that's where it was hosted.
For fuck's sake, man.
Tell me
So-
someone saved it.
My response is offline just because the entire.
Well then, do you have a channel elsewhere? Is there some other way you could upload it? Do you have a fucking
YouTube.
backup copy?
I
I do have a, I
QQ
do have a
give it to
backup
me,
copy.
I
I'll
can-
put it online
yeah.
sometime. But
You
I
can give
did.
it to me,
I
I
will
can
say
upload
I
it
didn't
online.
spend most of it addressing what he said about Templar. That was a little blip at the end. Most of it was not about that.
But Templar, you've got the 17-minute video. If there's something in there that you think I got factually wrong, and not just an opinion, but
I am
factually
not
wrong,
going to bother it because you fucking have demonstrated numerous times you will not correct even when it is fucking thrown in your face that you are wrong. You will just weasel away and forget all about it, just like you've done every other time, just like you've done on anything involving GG, and just like when your fucking minions decide to go about spreading that fucking lie. So,
Dan, if
yeah.
you want to play it, it starts at like 8:32 and it goes
Okay.
to like 9 something.
Okay.
It goes to like 9:45.
I'm gonna
Of course,
play it.
none of us in here will be able to hear it. We'll have
I'm going
to
to play it
unmute
at
this audio.
8:32. If you talk, then I'm going to mute, and you're not going to hear you on the stream. Do you got it? If you want to say something once I'm going, then you gotta say it in the chat. Okay, probably.
Sorry to cut you off, Templar, but we need to get moving here. We only got about 30 minutes more.
Yeah.
And that's just an excerpt from the stream. The stream went on for about 2 hours, so if you want to watch the full stream, there's a link in the description. You get the full context there. But this more or less sums up Templar's history with Gamergate. His approach was, and seems to still be, that the best way to defeat social justice warriors in gaming is to prove that individual people, Brianna Wu or Anita Sarkeesian or whoever, lied about being driven from their homes. That this is the best argument to defeat social justice warriors in gaming. To prove that Brianna Wu or Anita Sarkeesian or whoever is a liar. That they lied about being driven from their homes. In order to prove this, him and a couple of other people decided to go on Google Maps, used docs information to get...
Yes, you said Google Maps in the video, so you knew you can't weasel out of that one. You knew exactly how he got the info. Okay, continue.
their address.
I'm not watching it live right now,
That
as you know.
Sorry, the video is playing when you talk. Can you say that again?
Oh, I'm not watching it live right now, as you know.
Oh yeah, there'd be a delay anyway.
My router.
Yeah. I'm just pointing that out, that you knew full well when you made this video that he got the info from Google Maps.
Yeah, which technically he didn't. He got the information from Maps, which you're right about one thing, but the picture was already there to begin with.
Okay, I'm gonna continue.
Car was still in their driveway. Oh, Brianna Wu's car is still in her driveway when she tweeted that she was leaving her home because of the evil Gamergate misogynerds. And ironically, by doing this, he helped harm Gamergate's credibility more than anything, more than any article on Kotaku or The Guardian or wherever. He actually hurt Gamergate more.
Okay, you said that, Netscape, you said that by doing what Templar did, that he hurt Gamergate's credibility. Don't you see how the same is kind of true of the skeptic?
No, even more fundamental than that. This doesn't, what he just said doesn't comport with reality at all. He said that Templar got on Google Maps and used that to prove that Brianna Wu's car was still in her driveway.
That isn't even close to
That's
what
not even possible to do. Google Maps
Again.
is a snapshot of a point in time. You can't use that to prove that someone's car is still in their driveway. And that's not what Templar did. Like, basically, what I'm trying to point out here is this video just is full of factual issues, and that's one of them. Templar did say that he helped, I can pull it up exactly. He said that he helped, that he was digging on archiving shit, like the fact that Brianna Wu never left their house if they were threatened. But digging and archiving shit is not the same as, like, you extrapolated that out to this entire point about how he was using Google Maps and taking pictures of her house and things like that.
Yeah.
And
here's the key
they went to New York
points.
Comic-Con.
One at a time.
Yeah, fine. And here's the key point. The full extent of my Brianna Wu digging was literally archiving public property records.
And then later on, at timestamp like 10:25, he starts going on about taking pictures of someone's house to determine if their car is in the driveway. Not just looking at Google Maps, but actually taking pictures of their house, which is even more further removed from reality.
Taking pictures through Google Maps, like a... You know what I mean.
No. Taking pictures of someone's house to see if their car was in their driveway. You physically cannot do that with Google Maps.
Well, you can
do
if
that
you
with
look at
Google
the time
Maps.
in which the
No, you
Google Maps
can't.
image was taken.
Was it taken right? Was it taken between the time after she supposedly left her house? But
That wasn't my argument, though. That
Yes,
was
it
that
was.
was I think it was Press Fart to Continue. He's one of the people who published it. His
No.
argument.
So, the entire thing is yes, all of this is tangential to your main argument. However, your main argument relied on a whole bunch of information that you were sounds to me like you were just making up on the fly.
Also, for the record,
Well, no, based on what Templar had said, and if you weren't the one posting the pictures of Brianna Wu's house, and now I'll go ahead and fix that right now.
No, if you're gonna do anything, you're gonna post a fucking video apologizing to me directly, and it's gonna be coming straight from the actual fucking place of I'm sorry, I fucked up, it won't happen again. Because anything less than that, I'm just gonna slap your shit in, Nettie.
Well, you're an asshole, and I don't think
You're
I'm gonna be doing
an
that.
asshole. You're
But I
an
can-
asshole.
I will publish-
You're an asshole. Gee, Nettie, after we have proven that you have directly been lying about me for months on end, I wonder
For
why
months
I'm
on
an
end, I did
asshole to
one
you.
video, but okay.
One
So,
video
what I
where
can
I
do-
accuse him of a crime and how he ruined Gamergate with this.
I didn't. I don't think I mentioned. I might have mentioned your name once.
No,
in the
no,
entire-
you specifically said that Templar hurt Gamergate's credibility with what he did. Do you want me to play the video?
Which
have
he didn't
video
do. Netscape
evidence.
can't actually listen to it. His internet's too bad.
Yeah.
Too bad.
We
But what I
have video evidence of what you have said, Nettie. And here you are, just denying what you said. You're like the kid who we found with his hand in the cookie jar saying he didn't eat the cookies. Fess up already, buddy.
Well,
This is pathetic.
if I made the mistake, and it seems like I did, that you did not take the pictures from Google Maps and post them.
And I
Or-
didn't do
or
any
look
of
at-
the other
look
shit
into
you
them at all.
alleged either. Fuck off.
Then I could create a creator post explaining that. And I could also put an update on the video itself explaining that.
Now he wants a follow-up video.
I want a
that's not
fucking
going to happen.
apology. Q, you want to go
Okay,
ahead and
Templar?
explain?
Templar?
Q, no, shut up, Nettie.
No. So
Wanna
here's the issue
explain?
here. The issue is kind of nuanced. So, first of all, this is the entire thing about being incredibly sloppy about your tangential points to the point where you accuse people of doing things that they had no involvement in is just bad practice. But even that, when what you're accusing other people of doing that you find so heinous is something that you were invited to a server knowing full well that they're looking into individual people before you even joined, the combination of those things is just something that you're going to have to answer for. And if your answer to it is putting a little tiny update in the video that is from June, a little text read thing that no one's going to read, which is something that Internet Aristocrat criticized Kotaku and Polygon for doing, was, especially with the Patricia Hernandez thing, just putting a little text update when they were shown to have an ethical issue. Well, that's your prerogative, and you can do
No,
that.
I said I'd also publish a creator post as well,
Why won't you do a YouTube video
which is something
about
that all of my subscribers can see.
it? Yeah, but will they
There's
see
nothing-
it?
It could just be like a 1 minute video explaining what's going on.
Yeah.
And it'll be simple.
I ain't asking for a 15-minute apology. I'm literally just asking for a video that says, hey, I fucked up. I'm sorry to Templar. I accused him of things that were not true, and I apologize deeply. It will never happen again.
I'll
I
have to
promise
watch.
you.
I'll have to watch the video again to see exactly what I said. But yeah, Templar.
No,
I accuse you
you're
of
not
that.
going to do
If
shit.
I accuse you of creating, if I accused you of posting the pictures of Brandon Wu's house,
It wasn't
Then I
him
got
that
that
took
wrong.
the pictures.
It was
If it-
Google.
It was Google
have
Maps.
literally
Somebody's random phone.
over the coals, proving you have been lying about this, just like you've been lying about so many other things, Nettie. And that's just so just mind-blowing that you can't just own up to the fact that you fucked up, boy.
Yeah,
Is
well,
that such a pain to you to admit you might have been wrong.
Oh, I've admitted that I've been wrong plenty of times before.
In videos.
The issue is nailing you to a consistent standard. Like, what set of ethical standards are you following? We spent a lot of time trying to work that out during the stream.
And
I'm not talking about professional ethics like journalism ethics. I mean personal ethics. What are your personal ethics? I have zero. My understanding of what your personal ethics are has increased none since the start of this stream.
Well, I mostly create videos with opinions. That's pretty much it.
No, you don't get to do that. I'm not a journalist. I think Kotaku already tried that.
It's
and I've already
It's
already
pretty
said I'm going
fucking
to create the text post.
Yeah, you can do whatever you want, Nettie. It's not gonna change a damn thing. You're my friend. Hey, Nettie, why don't you try shutting up and actually listening for once? You're in a fucking server pulling the same fucking shit that you accused me of doing. You're gonna be all, Templar's such a horrible person for doing this. But it's perfectly okay when you're in a group, when your group does it, when you're debunking the alt-right and exposing the fraudster that is Coach Red Pill.
I had nothing to do with the Coach Red Pill.
I had nothing to do with it, but here I am.
You can look at all the logs yourself.
Screenshots that show I had some clue as to what it was about because I'm so netty. I've been caught out now. Now I got a damage control. That's what this whole stream has been.
You've actually admitted earlier in the stream, Netscape, that in advance of joining the server, you knew that he was going after individual people, and that you told him that you didn't agree with that, and yet you still joined.
He told me that he had information from this professor about Coach Red Pill.
I still don't know what your...
You're gonna need to do a more lengthy response than that.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna... they got a source from a professor who claims that this guy tried to con him. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
And when I tried to nail that to you, you said you didn't feel comfortable with it, but you weren't so uncomfortable that you didn't join the server. And in fact, he managed to explain it to you in such a way that you thought what he was doing was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it was like the best thing in the world, but I mean, it was, you know,
yes or no, is it okay?
It was okay.
And like I said, it's perfectly okay when his tribe does it, but when our tribe does it, he's fucking all of a sudden indignant.
Yeah, I mean,
going through, and if he was trying to find out where Coach Red Pill lives and trying to find out all this stuff about him, then that would be going too far. I would completely agree. And maybe Kraut did cross the line. Again, I don't know all the stuff that Kraut was up to.
Buddy, if you haven't been keeping appraised of what was going on in that server and elsewhere, you're even dumber than what I think you are.
Yeah, here's the thing. Here's the thing that you might not have gathered yet, Netscape, is that the whole I don't know what was happening. That doesn't work. It doesn't work in.
Oh, it's the truth.
No, hold on. Hold on. I have a better one.
Servers.
I didn't know that Zoe Quinn and Nathan Grayson were sleeping together.
I'm not. When I say it doesn't work, what I mean is you seem to have this really casual attitude about, yeah, all this stuff is going on around me that's causing this massive shitstorm. I don't care. I wasn't involved. Blah blah blah. I'm not even going to pay attention to what happened.
No, hold on. Wasn't that Stephen Totillo's argument?
Yeah, it was. It's. You're basically saying that as long as you stick your head in the sand and stay ignorant about what happened in that server, you'll never have to be held to account for it because you're.
I don't know what the. No, QQ. I was literally on the server for a few weeks. I posted a few messages, and that was it. I'm a member of 7 Discord servers. But when I was a part of that group, it was 8. On Discord, really. You could even ask the people on my own server that I'm very rarely on. I rely on other moderators for the most part.
And all I'm getting from Netscape is that he's just admitting that he doesn't actually believe anything that he says. He's a hypocrite, and that he will bend whatever rules he sets whenever he thinks he can get a gotcha moment on someone. That's all I'm getting from this, and any attempt on his end to deny that is going to fall flat with me.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it really just looks like
Well,
you took the set of behaviors that Templar engaged in, and you took the set of behaviors that Kraut behaved in, and you found the one thing that Templar did that Kraut didn't, and that's the one thing that you're going to call out. That's what it looks like to me.
No, I mean, he says that he got this information from the professor.
How
that
is the
revealed
professor
that
any
everybody
better?
was scamming.
Here we go with the justifications of
We'll
how this
call him the anonymous professor.
Okay.
Professor.
Guys, let him respond, would you?
How is that any better than Google Maps?
Google Maps wasn't even involved, Dan. How's that any better than calling someone's police precinct?
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Well, you that he was digging in and trying to find out where she lived and all this stuff.
Why
you,
was he
my
trying to
friend,
find
really don't understand what was going on if you honestly think that.
Why
No,
was
and
he trying to find that out? Why?
Well, he says he was trying to call up the police precinct, but you shouldn't be looking into that stuff in the first place.
I'm gonna tell you that's bullshit because 911 calls, Nutscrape, are public record. Meaning anyone can call up any precinct and ask for their call records. It's used for a lot of different reasons, primarily statistics, but anyone can call up a precinct and ask them, did you receive any 911 calls relating to this incident?
It's a public record about a public figure. I don't see why.
Or put another way, it'd be no different than if Donald Trump said he was harassed by someone and you went and tried to find his police precinct and called them up to ask about it.
Well, he's a politician. That is a bit different.
That was Brianna Wu.
He's a politician. No, it's not different.
Yeah, you should keep mixing it up. Brianna Wu wasn't even involved.
Yeah.
Netscape
No.
Talking
says
No,
that
we're
Brianna
talking-
Wu was
you
no,
involved.
we're-
faggot.
Oh.
Sit down and shut
See,
up, Rain.
This is the problem, is that Netscape's video on this was so terrible that it's even confused Dan. Like, that's how bad the video was.
no, I
is that
thought this
Dan
whole
can't
thing-
keep the facts straight. No, it's about Anita Sarkeesian.
Yeah, I thought this whole thing was that Templar was the one who got the pictures of Brianna Wu with the chair in the wall, and to prove that she didn't really leave her head.
That was all
Part
bullshit.
1. This is part 2, Dan. Keep up.
Yeah, that was the stuff that Netscape accused Templar of that didn't actually happen.
Where did I accuse Templar of this?
In the video.
We've already been over this.
We have
I'll-
literally
I'll-
proven
I'll
you
pull up
said
the video.
this. Don't even try to weasel out of it, Nettie.
Okay, from my understanding, Templar was trying to debunk the fact that the accusations Brianna Wu was in her house the whole time.
You're
No.
literally
No,
Anita.
retarded.
So let's separate the fact from the fiction. Here is the fact. Templar and Bill found enough information on Anita Sarkeesian that he was able to call her police precinct to verify a public record about whether she had called 911 or not. That's what he did. Now, here's some other stuff that he did not do. He did not go to Brianna Wu's house and take pictures of her house. He did
I
not.
never said that he did.
He did not look up Brianna Wu on Google Maps to try and see if her car was in the driveway or not. Those two things did not happen. In fact, the only mention that he had of Brianna Wu was the following. But outside of this, it's just been mostly digging and archiving shit like the fact that Brianna Wu never left her house if they were threatened and all that other bullshit. That's the entire quote that Templar said, and Netscape extrapolated this out to... Actually, I think Netscape accused Templar of doing what Noct did, SHG Noct, because Noct's always been the one who took the credit for the dig into Brianna Wu leaving her house or not. And that, by the way, did not use any information about if her car was in the driveway or not. Noct's dig was related to the appearance of her house and where she was during her interviews.
Give me a second. I'm gonna be listening to that video I did on 2x speed real quick if I can.
It's 17 minutes.
This is him trying to more or less escape the fact that he said
even
shit that ain't
2x,
true.
At 2x, it's 1/4 of the total amount of time you said this debate would take. We're now well over 3-fold up, by the way.
It's so funny, Q, because you said you didn't want me in here because I'd drag out the length, and yet here we are, going over time by over an hour because this is what
With
Ned
you in
does.
here, too.
I didn't want
I
to
came in at the
thought he'd
exact
make another-
tail end, bro.
It's
Don't
10.
even try to blame me for
That doesn't
this.
mean I'm not going to give you shit for it.
Well, the issue is
Kill
that
yourself.
when you have a discussion
Already
like
tried.
a stream like this,
Doesn't work.
there's two things that you have to try and establish. You have to establish the sequence of events, and you have to establish the principles that the person was operating under. And trying to nail down either of those took forever. I couldn't get a straight sequence of events, and every time I did, we kept getting derailed. And then trying to nail down...
suggesting what those events are instead of letting him explain to you what they are.
Yeah,
I know that might actually take another 4 years, but it could happen.
and then trying to nail down what Netscape's principles were with regards to that event, that took even longer, and I'm still not exactly sure. Like,
You know, would have totally gone a lot faster if you just said, hey, what are your morals with regards to this event?
Yeah, and you should have just asked him questions on a certain extent of what was going on.
It wouldn't have mattered how he worded them. Netscape is a slimy little worm who will never actually take a stand on anything.
well, this is what I assume that his stance is. I didn't see anything happening there that I didn't approve of, so so out of sight, out of mind.
I didn't know that Zoe Quinn and Nathan Grayson were having sexual relations.
Yeah,
And if that is legit what he thinks, then everything...
No, that's ridiculous. That is a completely ridiculous comparison.
No,
How
it
is
is
it
not.
different?
Because Stephen Totillo was presented evidence that Nathan Grayson...
Then why are you
Engaged in
engaging in
behavior.
comparison?
He was presented after the
And
article
then he
already
ignored
come
it.
out.
Then he completely ignored it. Rather than stepping up and saying, you know what, I didn't know about this, we're going to take steps to correct it, and we're going to add disclosure to those articles, and we're going to possibly fire or reprimand Nathan Grayson.
Other than
None
firing,
of which
hold on, no,
happened, and that didn't even
did not
happen.
happen.
no, other than
That's
no,
what
did
he
add-
should have done. That's,
No, other.
Instead, he said, Kotaku investigated Kotaku, and Kotaku found nothing wrong.
Netscape invested in Netscape and found that Netscape did nothing wrong in that Discord, which conveniently all the records have now been wiped from.
I'm pretty sure all of the records have been leaked.
No,
No.
It has been confirmed that Kraut tried to wipe all the records, but he failed to wipe the records because there is a audit log which shows everything that was done, including showing him trying to wipe all the records. So I actually have a video of someone filming the audit log, so I can confirm that Kraut did try and wipe the entire server, because there was something in there he didn't want people to see.
I wonder what that is.
And there,
I don't know, and I don't care, because that's on Kraut. We're talking about Nettie over there. And now he won't actually answer anyone's questions, and will continue to Mont Bailey because he knows he can't actually answer honestly, because if he did, he would be forced to eat oh so much crow on everything he said.
Let me ask him a question.
Go ahead.
Did you participate in anything in that group?
I asked them for some feedback on a video that I was working on.
Okay. What other participating? Did you watch anyone else's video? Did you see anything that they were
hold on.
possibly digging into something? Go ahead, Dan.
Presumably, he watched Kraut's video, the one that he tweeted out, or why would he be tweeting it out?
Well, I doubt I saw that on the Discord. I'm not very active on Discord.
Well, no, I mean you watched the video, right? You tweeted it out. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I
watch
saw the video, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, I've seen...
Well, no, we're talking about the one. We're talking about the one that you tweeted out, not.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the server. Unless, he probably got some of the research from the server, certainly, but...
I don't know. I just don't get why you kept interacting with Kraut after he basically been shown to be doing things that you are strongly opposed to.
I've interacted with him like 5 times, and I don't really see anything that he did that was...
Rage after storm.
And I again, if you actually saw the video
and
I did
on
that...
again say that you're lying, and you're being inconsistent, and that everything that happened to Rage After Storm more or less fits up with what you condemned me for what I allegedly did. And yet, Kraut gets a free pass because he's on my side. That's your whole moral system. You can deny it all you want, but the evidence and the actions speak for themselves, fucktard.
Yeah, you said that going at targeting people as individuals and trying to destroy their lives or trying to attack them on an individual basis is immoral behavior. That is your own words.
Yes.
So, going after Rage After Storm on an individual basis is something that you later said is perfectly acceptable because why?
Well, I pointed out in the video, it's not doxing.
But your standard isn't doxing is immoral. Your standard is going after people on an individual basis is immoral. That's your standard.
Yeah, I mean, as a general rule, that's certainly true.
Okay, so why is Rage After Storm the exception?
Pointed out to you, Kip, this person is a bad actor in your midst. You should probably look into it.
And that's not going after someone on an individual basis, and that's not trying to affect their lives.
Well, it certainly didn't affect her life in any meaningful way.
Oh, it didn't affect her life. It didn't force her to.
She was a volunteer. She was a volunteer for an anti. Shut the fuck up for a moment.
No, fuck you. You're gonna use the. Oh, she was just a volunteer.
No, she was a volunteer for an anti-racist organization.
You listening to this retard? Is he really gonna argue that now?
Yeah, well, he modded Bailey'd again because now he's focusing on the part about destroying their lives. It doesn't matter. You already said that going after someone on an individual basis is in and of itself immoral.
Right, and I think that's... You should focus on the ideas.
And here we go again with him trying to escape and not seeing the inherent contradiction in his actions and what he said.
You should focus on someone's ideas unless they work. Okay, so your standard is you should not go after people on an individual basis. You should focus on people's ideas. Unless they're part of a group that is explicitly anti-racism, then you're permitted to go after them on an individual basis.
No, I mean, she was part of a group, like you said, is anti-racist. And it's pretty clear that they will not tolerate racists in their midst.
Yes.
And
so
he contacted them, but that's
contacted them.
It would be perfectly fine to contact the Republican Party and say, "Hey, this person, let's say Richard Spencer joins the Republican Party and is working as a low-level staffer."
So is it perfectly okay to contact? This didn't happen. I'm making up a hypothetical. To contact the press and say, I have a tip, Anita Sarkeesian didn't call the police.
I don't think that's unethical to do that. I think it's really morally questionable to go in and try and dig through this information to find out where somebody lives and do all this stuff. Like what's wrong with you?
Every journalist that has ever lived.
No, you still haven't answered. You still haven't answered the question. How would you find out the information?
I wouldn't care about the information. Information is largely irrelevant.
Okay, this is why.
How many arguments have been won online or in real life by saying, "Well, Anita Sarkeesian, I called her precinct last week, and I didn't, and she didn't call the police according to this person."
Here we go with the Martin Bailey again.
How many arguments have been won by messaging an organization that someone is a part of and trying to get them to disassociate with them? How many arguments
that's not about winning the argument. That's not about winning the argument. That is about helping the organization out to get this bad person out of their midst.
Bad person. Uh-oh.
Okay,
here's the thing. Here's
Shocking,
the thing.
I know.
She already lost her YouTube channel. People reported that YouTube channel. And then suddenly you have this on Twitter. You had a friggin' he had a tattletale to the organization. Seeing this video that she made, blah blah blah. Check it out.
Yeah, like this is the point that you're going to have to answer to, and your answer so far, I have no idea who it would be satisfactory to, and your answer is
Well, so far, pretty much everybody except you guys. I've had a few people,
And yet you still come here.
because
You're-
I think QQ is wrong, and you know what? I actually kind of like QQ. I don't agree with him on a lot, but I kind of like the guy,
so
and I like Dan.
you're trying to have your cake and eat it too by saying your standard is still going after people on an individual basis is immoral, and yet there are a mountains of exceptions when it's something that you also made a video defending. Like that's why I think you're so staunch here, is because you've made public statements both ways. So now you have to draw the line at such a place where you look consistent.
He will never be consistent because, as far as I'm concerned, it's clear to me he has never had an actual principle in his fucking life.
Oh, I've got plenty of principles.
I've got principles, and yet
Okay,
when
so-
your actions
so-
show you betraying them, you just make up excuses instead of owning up to them.
So you have a principle of you are the company you keep, right? That is a principle that you have.
I don't think I really make that a principle. I mean, actually,
Do we
oddly
need
enough,
no, hold on. Do we need to pull the archive up?
Yeah, earlier in the stream you said that's more or less true.
well, certainly to some extent, yes.
Do I need to pull the
no.
archive up?
So I mean, really, one of my, I wouldn't call them a friend, but one of my
Alright, here's a good
acquaintances
question
in real
for you.
life is actually a Gamer Ghazi person.
Simple question.
I've had plenty of civil conversations with them. I've had plenty of conversations with anti-Gamergate people who I think I'm on friendly terms with.
Are you
I don't
in a
think they're bad
Discord?
people.
Are you-
just
Simple question
because.
for you. To what extent? You say to some extent. To what extent?
Well, I mean, that has to be measured on like an individual basis.
Well, you're the individual, and this is the claim there for you, and so on. So, as far as you're concerned, to what extent?
It really depends on the situation. Like, I have
Alright.
to look at. So, for instance, like if you're part of, if you're part of a group that has, it's the best, like Gamer Ghazi or GG Revolt or whatever it happens to be. If you're part of this group, that does not necessarily make you a bad person.
Okay, so
But part of this group, you probably have to answer for some of the stuff that the group has done, or at least, at the very least, you should say, okay, do you agree with the stuff that that happened? Here's what happened, and you can
Alright.
say, I disagree with them there, but overall, I think that the group is good and that they got a bad reputation, and I think that even though I might not agree with everything that they've done or everything that they've said, that they had the right idea. So if you could still support Gamer Ghazi, or hell, even GG Revolt for that matter, and not be a bad person. Thydrin supports GG Revolt, or at least he used to. And I don't think Thydrin's a bad person.
no.
Well, I guess that's one way of putting it.
My GG Revolt
Here's the reason-
boogeyman!
Here's the reason why
Let me
he
put it
doesn't
really.
support-
Let me put it really simply. When GG Revolt was created, the board owner went and asked him for advice. Thydrin gave him advice. The board owner completely ignored Thydrin's advice, and ever since then, Thydrin was kind of like, they didn't really do it right, and I don't think that the board was very good.
And I personally knew the co-founder of too, which was Zan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know about Zan.
I think the entire existence of the board, despite a lot of rumors, was mostly because of a feud between Zan and Acid. But yeah, we're going in circles again. Basically,
Shit.
Okay, it is 1 a.m., so hurry up and make your final closing arguments. And
Now you're worried
My
about
final argument is you're a piece of shit.
thanks,
Well,
Templar.
I just think it's an
Appreciate you
interesting
being here.
contrast to contrast your behavior on Twitter towards Krister Jr., which was all very heavily his crowd, the company he keeps, and so on and so forth, versus your refusal to apply the same standard to crowd.
I mean, I don't see what crowd did. I don't really care what crowd did.
Ignorance.
If I saw something going on there, that was bad, I'd have called him out on it. And I did call him out when I said that I don't think that this is the right approach.
So you have a year's worth of conniptions over a board because most of its threads are eCeleb threads, and then you join a server where most of its channels are eCeleb channels, and you have no problem with that.
Well, the problem with GG Revolt wasn't the eCeleb channel. I mean, certainly the amount of drama that GG Revolt generated, much of which was pointless, and perhaps some of it was legitimate, but much of it was just pointless. Like, people like Templar here. Okay, let's be clear. People like Templar who are really spurging out.
Really?
Oh my God, these people are evil. They're liars. They're all of this stuff.
Yep,
And
here we go with the fucking lying.
That was certainly one of the many problems with
Pause
GG.
there, because even a charitable listening of what happened here on the stream tonight does not make you look very good with regard to that video.
Well, and like I said, I'm gonna rewatch the video.
I think what Templar asked for is not wholly unreasonable, that you make a video where you say, here's what I did wrong, here's why it was wrong, and I'm sorry, and here's why.
Yeah, and I'm going to create the text post both on the video and also
on a video that is not going
and
to by anyone
in the subscription feed. I'm actually not exactly trying to do that. I've never actually done that before.
But all you have to do is just go in there and edit the description, put a link at the bottom to the video where you apologize. And then tweet something out.
Just make an apology video. That's all.
He doesn't want to do it. He's not repenting.
I'm not
Don't even bother putting in any annotation or anything.
He's
say,
not
I'm
even
sorry.
going to put in any
Please stop
effort.
talking over each other.
No. Because it's clear to me he's not going to apologize. He's not sorry about anything. He's only sorry that he got caught. Well, guess what, Nettie?
Sorry that I got caught? Really?
Yes, because this is what every fucking person I have seen online and off pull when they get caught with their pants down doing something they know they shouldn't be doing. So kindly piss off, Netscape.
And this thing that I supposedly got wrong.
Oh my
so
God!
bad.
Here
was
we go.
Here
we go with the Martin Bailey again because he knows he can't win.
A picture of Brianna Wu's house, and I got that wrong in a video, which I'm pretty sure I didn't even mention you in, other than maybe one time.
Yes, you did. Are you kidding me? The whole video was about him. I just played the clip.
Gee, Dan, I wonder why I'm so angry when I have this much blatant lying in front of me. I wonder why. I have nothing but contempt for this little worm.
Alright, dude, I know you're pissed, but Jesus Christ, chill.
Fuck you.
Yeah, fine. Fuck me, but
I didn't want to do that.
What did you
I'm
do?
talking about Netscape repeating shit, and I just sitting here listening.
You did what, Dan?
Exact thing.
I can't beat the level. Sorry.
Okay.
Either way, all there's really left to say is I wait for Netscape to make yet another video responding to this one in a few hours when he realizes I need to get control of the situation now.
That would be hilarious, actually. He makes a video in a few hours where he's like, but these bad actors are
1 in the morning.
protecting the alt-right. And then plays an out-of-context clip from this stream. That would be hilarious.
Well, I made my position on the alt-right. I'm very well known.
I'm pretty sure my position is they're a bunch of faggots who need to either fuck off or get serious. But either way, they're still a bunch of faggots.
But first, we need to have QQ ask us yet again. We define the alt-right.
You want my definition?
Well, as soon as you're done, starting this level over again, we begin our Groundhog Day.
All right, how do you define it?
It's the next Gamergate. That's basically what.
Probably clarify what you mean by that.
Okay, yeah. It's another gay online movement. First they had Chanology, then Occupy, then Gamergate, and then then the alt-right, and then the
God
next
damn
one
it, I
is
want some
probably going
ethics.
to be... No, it wasn't about ethics, but the next one will probably be... what was it? What's the video you just tweeted out, QQ, earlier today? It'll probably be related to that. That and James Damore and, what else is
It's
So-
probably going to be the Tech Revolt, but either way, I think we've more or less made all our points very fucking clear.
I define it a bit differently. I'd say it's the new neo-reactionary, in that it's the new label that certain political side calls everything that they disagree with.
Yeah, but you see, that would make the alt-right the Dark Souls of Gamergate.
Oh my gosh. I think I have a tumor now after hearing that.
Oh.
In the dank souls.
I hope you have a huge tumor, because you've given me several of them tonight.
You
I don't want to let it
deserve
come on.
There were several face palms after this one. I'm sorry, man.
Either way, I think we've made our points clear. Nettie is going to continue oblivious, thinking he's just fine, and I'm just going to continue being me, aka an asshole and getting rich.
I don't know. I
Good for
mean,
you.
I just think it's really strange. Like, if a community that I was a part of leaked and was causing massive controversy, the last thing that I would do is decide to remain as oblivious as possible.
All right, so my little final word here is, Dan, you need to get rid of that text channel that says targets on it. It's a bad look.
What?
That's what someone told. That's what Bosley told the crowd.
Oh.
All right. Any other closing remarks? Let's go around the table.
I'm going to be pissed if I find out that...
All I gotta say is Jeff Holiday did 9/11.
No. He
That's-
did Sandy Hook,
Okay,
bro.
I got one last thing to say, and then I won't say anything else for the rest of the stream. Okay, Netscape, you still there?
Yes, sir. What's up?
When are you going to release a follow-up video to your Roy Moore one?
Which one? Oh, you mean
Yeah.
the Me Too video?
Yeah.
I'm actually not sure. I actually have it on my desktop here. Not the video, but the folder for it.
Yeah,
Well,
did you read through the entirety of those Thomas Victor threads?
No.
You need to do that.
I have a question for Netscape. What's next for you after GG?
I'm not sure. Movie reviews occasionally. I'm not.
Have you thought of doing comic book reviews?
No, I'm not a big comic book person. But I'm not really sure. I might do a little bit of politics, but I'm kind of bored of YouTube now. It's like making videos sometimes feels like a chore. Passionate about. So I don't know. I would like to see the record on Gamergate corrected though. Still.
Gino
Well,
Manzo
yeah,
said this
too.
is the stream that never ends. It goes on and on.
Correct the
my
record,
friends.
trademark. Yeah, good luck with that. The issue is not so much that I'm going to tell you right now. The issue is not so much that the record needs corrected. It's that you can produce no consistent narrative using the method that you're using.
What consistent narrative am I
Don't
trying to
you
create,
have
think?
somewhere
And-
to go?
Well, to bed at some point, but I don't work for another 11 hours actually. So
I can elaborate as much as you want, but it's going to take some time.
I'm pretty sure most of our
Cliff
viewers
Notes version?
are bored.
Cliff Notes version is in something that you did multiple times in the video that we keep talking about today. Is you seem to have a meta narrative about what GG was that you think everyone else's experience matched yours. And if that is what you are going to try and push, like you have an idea of who is and who is not in it, and who isn't part of it and who isn't a part of it, and what behavior is and is not GG behavior. Anytime you try and come up with a single cohesive narrative like that, you're gonna have a hard time.
Alright, I just gotta jump in real quick to say I have to go. So thanks for having me on. I hope
anytime.
Good job of being a mod, so.
Thanks for moderating.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, yeah.
I think I could put it more simply by saying that the record on GG could be corrected to be 100% factual, and yet it does not match how you want it to be corrected.
Well,
yes!
I don't think that's
hold on. I just beat the game.
Holy crap. Did you start from 0?
I started the very beginning of the game, yes. So yeah, I beat the game. Oh man, it's in a tiny, tiny window.
I just have to read this from chat. CoyoteCon says, "Boy, Netscape isn't even consistent with his excuses as to why he needs to leave in 5 minutes."
He needs to get to bed because he doesn't seem to realize that I'm coming to take a picture of his house. Don't you know? I'm like the Santa Claus of house pictures.
Quick, get on Google Maps and see if his car is in his driveway.
Make sure that the Christmas too.
Yeah.
Well,
I got
QQ, as to what you were saying, I think that you could be pretty clear as to the history of events and as to what really took place and has continued to take place over the past few years in regards to Gamergate. I'm actually really seriously considering writing a book about this at some point.
I know I said
I've presented and put together what is a factually accurate history of events, and that might not align 100% with what every single person thinks. I know a lot of the anti-Gamergate people would certainly disagree with some of my interpretation of things are facts. So you can look at the facts and be like, okay, here is what happened.
Like it or not, a bunch of facts are worthless without a narrative to tie them together. And you could have 1,000 different posts that list nothing but facts, along with a factual story to tie them together, and have none of them corroborate each other. So that's why I think trying to correct the record about something this chaotic, all that you're going to do is you're going to create a personal history. Nothing wrong with that. But, yeah, I mean, Gonzo is a kind of journalism that is definitely existent.
Netscape, I don't think you realize what kind of hole you found yourself in with this. Like before this, I thought, oh yikes, the SJWs are winning again. I was seeing people going after Ivan Throne and Stefan Molyneux and all these people and Tara McCarthy. Tara McCarthy had a channel in the server, and I was like, oh crap, the SJWs are winning again. It's like Gamergate never happened. And then I find out later that, oh, this is why it was happening. There's a little server there where they're all going after these people. And so yeah, thanks to Kraut and this whole huge thing, I think that the ideas behind the alt-right are going to get a lot more. They're going to go into the mainstream consciousness. Probably not the no. Let me phrase it. Not the deporting various groups of people, but the idea that different races are different. That's definitely going to go mainstream in the same way that video game journalism is terrible went mainstream after Gamergate kind of dissolved.
He Kraut sort of made a martyr out of Rage After Storm, that's for sure.
I don't even think it'll take a few years, Templar. I'll give it a year.
I can put it even fucking simpler, Dan. They've just had the siege of Saigon happen to them. Sure, the skeptics may have won, but the alt-right has had the biggest PR coup of the century.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when people come and knock and to ask you what your involvement was, your answer of "I didn't know any of this was going on," it'll only fly for certain kinds of accusations, and those types of accusations are the ones that, like on here, where we're trying to get you to have a consistent principle. When it comes to the future, looking back, when people are trying to work out where this whole train of thought came from, they probably won't look so kindly on all the people who are in the server who catapulted those ideas mainstream.
Oh, another thing I should say, because this is all being recorded, there are ideas from the alt-right that I guess I don't agree with. I don't know, depending on whatever. Heck, there are ideas in Gamergate that popularized in the mainstream of we all hate journalists. I don't think we should be calling them journalists. I think we should call them all bloggers, but I can't do anything about it because that's now mainstream.
Yeah, there's many ideas populated during VG that I disagree with, and many ideas populated during any hashtag/movement/whatever of the day that I don't agree with. I don't know. It just really...
A lot of people didn't like me talking about Al's situation, especially when I showed the pictures.
The what?
The Alison Wack situation, did you say?
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of people didn't like me. I did a comparison of images of her, and then I saw the images of the so-called escort thing, and I compared them, and it was the smoking gun.
Yeah, I have absolutely zero problem with you doing that. However, I don't think it would pass.
Some people didn't like it.
Netscape wouldn't like it, I'm pretty sure, because he has that standard of not going after people.
But yeah,
unless they're rage after storm.
Well, I have made my I've made my views
real.
on the Allison Ramp situation pretty clear, and I've also done a couple of videos on that whole situation.
To re-rail this back to the central point, like Netscape, you're going to be really screwed if you don't get your rear in gear and get that video out saying, hey, yeah, I screwed up. This was a big mistake. I should never have been in this server where they're doing this crap, or whatever you're going to say about it.
Yeah,
I've talked to a ton of people, and they're all like, yeah, that, they have no issue at all with anything that I've said or done.
Here's the thing. Your strategy is not going to work forever. Your strategy
I don't have a strategy. You
need to get one, is what I'm saying. What you're doing right now is kind of, I don't know what went on there, and I'm not really going to look, but everything that I saw was kosher,
I don't really care.
I participated in was kosher.
You're gonna really care when people start digging you, buddy.
The thing is that you will want to know what you should be disavowing. You should be looking into what happened so you know what you should be disavowing. Because if people start coming back and looking at the record of events and they don't see a strategic disavowal of you of exactly the behavior that went on in your company that you disapprove of, they're going to assume that you approve of all of it.
It was a Discord server with like 90 people in it. Yeah, I don't think anybody gives a shit.
Spin it however you want, buddy.
There's no spin.
Every last person in that Discord is a marked man the moment that shit leaked. You better damn well have a good story to tell them when they come knocking, bro.
There is no story to tell.
Okay. Disregard our advice at your own peril.
No, I can debunk that immediately. How many videos has I already done? How many views have they gotten? There is a story to tell. You can't deny that.
Well, nothing involving me. And if anybody asks, I mean, I'll just tell them the truth.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do when he puts you in the video?
When what?
When Mr. Medicare puts you in the video. He's
but
doing
what is he
a
gonna
video
put in there?
series.
God. Exactly, that I quoted Thomas Jefferson or George Washington?
I don't know. I mean, what's out there?
I've got nothing to hide in that server.
I think we got nothing more to add. We've said what we need to say.
I guess. I mean,
and at this point, we're not even trying to nail you to the ground to a consistent position here, because we learned that doesn't work. We're trying to give you advice here. what we genuinely think is the best course of events.
Yeah, because I don't think you understand what's going on in that server. There was a lot of things that were going wrong that people kind of disagreed with, and we're just pointing out that I don't think you're involved with it, but at the same time, you realize that what they were doing in that server was kind of wrong, but you don't care what they were doing. But unfortunately, a lot of people were questioning you about this, and they're still questioning you, and you don't realize that what they were doing inside that server was kind of suspicious and wrong, and you just kind of
suspicious. Yes,
yeah.
You know, having the list of YouTubers, that was really fucking stupid of Kraut, no doubt.
Yes.
Okay, now you realize.
Netscape, you realize Kraut tried to throw Zeph under the bus, and
I don't know who Zeph is.
He's
that
the
doesn't
UFO
matter.
guy.
My point at the end of the day is, you better have a story, and it better match up with what little evidence there is, because if it doesn't and someone decides to throw you under the bus for something, there ain't gonna be no one who can help you with that, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody in that server, I don't know them.
You cut out.
And that's the thing. They're trying to, and I'm not trying to,
I mean, except for Kraut and maybe Thunderfoot, but I mean, I know who Thunderfoot is.
Well,
obviously,
Thunderfoot. Well, in his own defense, he said that.
Wait, hold on. You haven't heard of Based Mama?
I've not heard of her or seen her videos. No.
Boy.
Did you know the New York Times writer that was in the Discord?
I didn't even know there was a New York Times writer in the Discord.
Do you know that? Are you aware that the New York Times what's the word? What did they do to the Holodomor? No. What did the New York Times do in regards to the Holodomor? I'm blanking on the term. Covered up.
They fucking whitewashed it, covered it up.
Yep. And they also blamed YouTube with PewDiePie.
That was Wall Street Journal, but
Nope, New York Times participated too.
Yeah.
Yep.
The New York Times thing happened. Wasn't that the 30s or 40s?
In the whole thing about PewDiePie being an alt-right Nazi.
PewDiePie.
And once again, we're going in circles when really all I'm saying is that Netscape doesn't watch his back. He's going to get fucked, and he won't even realize it until it's too late to do something about it. But
yeah, they won't even My line of questioning tends to be fairly, forgive the term, autistic. It won't be that. It won't be like this. It won't be anything like this. It'll be a very different line of questioning.
It will be worse than me.
Basically, they're trying to say you are the chosen one. Basically.
You were supposed to bring balance to Gamergate, not leave it in darkness.
Yeah, pretty much. And then you kind of...
it'll be more... Okay.
Then you lost your legs and your arms.
No, I have a better metaphor to you. Have you ever played Hitman Netscape?
No, I have not, sorry.
Have you played Thief?
No, sorry. Same, I know.
Have you played GTA?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, you know the ones where you gotta go and kill someone?
Yeah, what do you think, the alt-right's gonna murder me?
Not physically, but...
Basically, Padme.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, okay, think of all the various missions in GTA.
Padme,
Someone's
you
gonna
lost
make
Padme as your fan base.
I lost who? I'm sorry.
Padme in your fan base.
I don't know who that is. Who's that?
No. Think of it like they have a bunch of GTA missions, and you're the target of one of them.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen here that I didn't have any real role in that server. You can look at the logs from that server that have been leaked by whoever it was that posted the logs and posted the recordings and all that. I did not participate in a single one of the recordings.
Okay, I think we're going in circles.
Yeah.
He's not going to listen. We've given you advice. We've told you what we know. We are not looking for an argument at this point. You say you got to go somewhere because you got work in a couple hours. So I would suggest that you get some sleep and go figure out what you're going to do with your life that doesn't involve talking about random online movements because, seriously, Nettie, you need to get some hobbies outside of YouTube.
Oh,
That's
I do.
all I'm gonna say.
I do. I mean, I don't even release that many YouTube videos anymore. But to
I'm
Templar,
not looking for an argument
Templar.
or a debate. I am simply giving what I know.
I do want to say
Okay,
something
yeah.
to Templar before we go.
Say
if I
one
can.
thing and then we're cutting it because it's 2:30 almost.
So Templar, when I made the video about you or about I didn't really intend to make it about you in particular, but I got some of the facts wrong. Sorry for that, and I will post that text message. How do you? So does anyone know
Just
how to
make
do
it
that?
a video, Netscape. Really, you really want to do this? Make a video.
Yeah.
Say, here's
I
my.
know where I'm at.
Just make an apology.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
have no
It
idea
can be
what
like a minute
forgiveness-
long.
You have no
Okay.
idea what forgiveness entails, and consider this you paying some penance. And if you don't understand the term, Nettie, I would suggest you ask a priest.
Like literally,
No, Templar.
no. Here's what you do: you open up a Hangout link. You don't give it to anyone. Just go on there. Say, "Here's what happened. I'm sorry, Templar." Blah blah blah, and then whatever else you gotta say, and then you turn it off, and it'll take you 2 minutes tops.
And yeah, you're right. I'll do that. And
Okay.
Templar, the thing is, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to correct my mistakes. That's why I wanted to do the text message and things like that, because you were such a dick, and
I
talking
am
to you
only
now-
a dick
talking
when
to
you
you now-
give me fucking cause to be, buddy.
Oh,
I'm sure
talking.
Q and
No,
Ray-
I don't mean that to insult you. Well, talking to you now, you know, cool now and pretty calm and right, and you know, I'm sorry, and I'll make that quick video. I'll probably do it right now, actually, after the stream.
That'd be wonderful. Anyway, I gotta go.
So, at least
I
watch
hope-
the original video first
Yeah.
and
Yeah, of course.
try and determine what facts you got right and what facts you got wrong.
Of course.
What facts have no backing.
And you know, still between us, I hope Templar.
And
I'm
I
sorry.
will say what I say to everyone that asks for my forgiveness. Don't let it happen again. That's
And with
really
that-
all I require at the end of the day.
And with that, I'm going off the air. Good night, everyone.
Good night.